Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching third part of What If Naruto Was Chosen by Venom. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Naruto fell his way back to his house. He opened the door to his house as he tried not to yawn. Haku-chan? Kin? There was no reply. Naruto walked in and grinned when he saw his bed. Must be out training or something. It was nice looking and empty. After putting Venom's pants on his pajamas, he fell on the bed and slid under the covers. He fell asleep quickly. Kin, take the first shower, Haku told her as she walked into their house. Okay, Naruto isn't asleep on the couch yet. What a surprise. She laughed along with Haku. Haku had become friends with the girl, even though she was a prisoner. Naruto-kun really doesn't know what it means to relax sometimes. Serum didn't make the same mistake with Dosu that Venom did. No matter what the girl felt threatened by, it was dealt with in the strongest way possible. Most of the time, she was just thinking about running away, and Haku had to destroy the bell or other items she was holding. But in the end, she gave up. This made Haku even more suspicious, so he kept an even closer eye on her. But she did become her friend. Even more, Haku let her train. She didn't care as long as it wasn't loud. Serum even let her keep an eye on her while she slept. It looks like he never slept. She waited by sitting down on the couch. She was tired from trying to find a way to deal with the weakness in her hearing. And once she knew, she could teach Venom in truth how to do it. Naruto might like to earn his strength, but Sasuke thought that too many people knew about it. And she knew that there were no real secrets in this town. Haku-san, my shower is over. Thanks, Haku said as she stood up and went into the bathroom. She shrunk Serum down to the size of a ring on her left hand and turned on the water. Kin told her, I'm going to bed, sounding tired. Haku couldn't help but have a small laugh. Kin just couldn't keep up with her and Serum because he didn't have the stamina. She probably wouldn't have even noticed if someone was sleeping in the bed right now. Haku put her head up and looked into the water. She kept asking about Sasuke and Haku didn't understand why. It would be pointless for her to finish her mission now. She also didn't understand why she was given the task in the first place. Before they went to the exam, Orochimaru told Kin to kill Sasuke while they were there, but Kin never asked why. Kin had said that this was because people who questioned him were often killed. Why? What are we forgetting? She knew the name because Zabuza-sama had told her about him after she got Serum. He was afraid it would be like Orochimaru's seal. That it would make Naruto the master of her mind. If only she could see how things fit together. Serum, can you think of something? Yes, he could. Zabuza had said that it gave them power as well. He might have been able to give him the seal if he had been there. And the three of them would be perfect to test him out afterward. But there were not enough facts. He wants Sasuke, but why? She asked. Of course, he wants his Sharingan, just like everyone else. He wants the Sharingan, and the seal is the best way to make sure that if he can't get it, no one else will. She was glad that Serum followed her lead. She needed someone who was smart and had a different point of view. And he could remember everything. She rinsed out the shampoo and dried her hair. She had taken extra care to make sure that Serum was also clean. Since most of her body was covered, she didn't get dirty, but he did. She walked into the bedroom after putting on a nightgown. And knew there was something wrong. There was someone else in here. They were so still that she couldn't tell who they were in the dark. She turned on the light by reaching for the switch. And let out a happy sigh. She wondered for a moment why she hadn't heard them come in. Because Naruto had been there before. She was right, Kin hadn't paid attention. We guess we can't get mad at them, she said. She got into bed with him and laid her head on his chest. She kissed him and said, "Good night, Naruto-kun." He knew he had to kiss her back even when he was sleeping. Naruto felt better when he woke up than he had in days. When he tried to sit up, there was something heavy on his chest. He looked down and saw Haku-chan's face. Kin said, "Good morning," as he walked out the door. "Are you happy?" "We are." "Why is Haku-chan sleeping on us?" "I woke up and you were there, so I think you came when we weren't here and fell asleep on the bed. After I took a shower, I went back to bed and didn't notice you." Naruto leaned back and said, "That seems most likely." He didn't have to go anywhere or train today. He didn't want to wake up Haku-chan for no reason, so he was going to chill out. "What do you think of Konoha?" "Not as weak as I thought it was," she said. She had a glass of milk in her hand. She hit the glass with her finger and listened to it ring. "I still can't believe you are so weak against something like that." "Has anyone heard?" "No." "We appreciate that," Naruto said, then closed his eyes. "You're fine, Kin. I don't know why you worked for a jerk who wants to kill so many people." He gave me a hand. "What now?" "Konoha has prepared for war. We're sure we'll win as long as Gaara isn't a factor." "What will you do then?" Naruto sighed. "The same reason as Haku-chan." She didn't seem too upset when she said, "I don't know. I know I'll never go back home." "Not much of a place to call home?" "It wasn't," he said. "Well, if you want to stay here, you can if the old man says you can do what you want." She shut her eyes tight. "Are you making a pass at me?" "Nope. We have Haku-chan and Hinata-chan, and that's all we can handle." "We're saying you're Haku-chan's friend, and she doesn't have many." Haku started to move, so Naruto stopped talking. When she stopped, he turned and looked at Kin. "Well, you're pretty, but we're not your type. Because I use I instead of we." "Ouch. If you two keep talking, you are going to wake up the dead," Haku groaned. "I'm sorry, Haku-chan, and good morning." When he heard her say, "Damn son, we swear we should kill you," he laughed to himself. "Don't want to wake up?" Naruto instead asked. "Last night, we found the most comfortable pillow." "Haku-san, we need to go," Kin told her. Haku said, "Fine, fine." Then he threw the blanket off of her, giving Naruto a nice view. "Blue?" he asked. "What are you?" Haku looked down and saw that her nightgown had come up to her waist. Her hand went straight to his face. And he moved away. Which is what she had planned. Again, he ducked. He jumped, landed with his feet against the ceiling, and then leaned back to avoid the next one. "Haku-chan, we were just commenting because we like blue," Naruto said before running into the bathroom and closing the door. Outside of the Ikuruka ramen shop, Naruto met Hinata. "Hello, Hinata-chan." He took her mask off for a moment and kissed her on the cheek. "How are you doing today?" "We are fine, Naruto-kun," she told him with a smile. "Neji-Nisan is coming back home today. Will you meet him with us? Won't he think that we've come to kill him?" Hinata put her head down. "No, you told him you wouldn't because we asked you not to, and we still don't want him hurt. We'd think we were there to kill him, so where do we find him?" "Right now, Neji-Nisan is with his team, and we were about to go meet him." "Alright, let's race you there." Hinata's mask made her smile even bigger. "It's on." Naruto told Hinata behind him, "We're going to win." She shot a web at him and caught his leg, saying, "No, you're not." So far, the only thing that went against their spider sense was each other. Hinata pulled, and Naruto stumbled just a few inches from the finish line. He went backwards while Hinata ran after it. Naruto grabbed her leg, though. Neji tensed up. "Come finish me off, Naruto," he asked, already taking a defensive stance. He told you, before she hit him on the head. Neji was amazed by the two people. He had to work hard to hit her, but she did it like it was nothing. "Guy-sensei, Who is that girl? Is she his girlfriend, Haku? It was clear that she was too beautiful for him. Lee told him, no, she wears white. Naruto, did you come here to tell me more about how to make Sakura-chan like me? No, Hinata-chan asked for us to come. Neji asked as he walked toward them, why would she ask you to come but not come herself? Naruto stuttered, my name is Hyuga Neji. Miss, would you like to have lunch with me? Then he laughed. What's so funny? I'm asking your girlfriend out on a date, if you can't tell. Ha ha ha. Neji, ha ha ha. That is Hinata-chan. Neji turned green before he turned back to her and saw that she had taken off her mask. Hello, Neji-Nisan. I was going to have lunch with Naruto-kun, but if you'd rather I eat with you. She began to laugh. Tenten looked like he was sick. How could you not know? She threw a kunai into the air, caught it by the blade, and threw it into the practice dummy's crotch without even looking. I don't think I was just trying to get Hinata's attention. Believe it, Naruto said, still laughing as he fell to his knees and held his sides. Lee turned his head and looked away. It wouldn't do for him to laugh at his competitor. The same thing happened to Guy. Hinata-sama, Neji asked as he closed his eyes and turned away, what brought you here? We came to meet you and walk you home, Neji-Nisan. We asked Naruto-kun to come to show that he was no longer mad at you. She smiled and put her mask back on. We also wanted to ask you something, Nisan. What? Help us get better at Juken. It was over. Since she got there, Hinata had been giving off the wrong vibe. How she talked, how she carried herself, and how she was able to hit Naruto. She got rid of her coat and now wears bright clothes. She could not have done this. Byakugan. He looked at her and saw that it wasn't a genjutsu. Her form was a small cloud, just like Naruto's, and nothing else was different. Hinata, what happened to you? Sometimes, being close to death has the most profound effects. We want to be strong like someone we admire, so he has been helping us get there. She held out her hand to him. Neji hesitated before taking her hand. And he could see that her smile got even bigger. Oomph. Neji was now face down in the grass with his arm twisted behind his back. Even how he got there was a mystery to him. He was standing, and then he lay down. After a second, Hinata let him go. And we think we have been getting stronger, she said as she helped him stand up. Naruto took a proud look at his girlfriend. He had been curious about how she would act. Do you still want us to be with you, Hinata-chan, or would you rather be alone so that you and your brother can make up and plan to get back at your father? Naruto-kun, we are not plotting against your father. When we are the clan leader, we just want to do things differently. The elders, then, Naruto said with a laugh to correct him. Oh, Hinata-chan, we'll have something for you and Haku-chan later. We'll meet you at the playground, she said. They looked at her funny, and she smiled at the way she talked about the forest of death. How about tonight at 6? We'll be there, Naruto told them. As they left, Neji rubbed Naruto's shoulder to try to bring feeling back to the arm. Now, Lee, we can help you get Sakura. Okay, so what makes the biggest impact? Still young. Complete that word, or we won't help you, Naruto told him. Lee, we don't dislike the way you talk, but we're talking about making a big impression on a normal person like Sakura. Try again, what makes a good first impression? Master? Guy yelled, I've always been fine with the burning flames of youth. Which, of course, explains why you are single, Naruto said. Guy was hunched over by a tree with his knees up to his chest and his head down. Lee, take a look at what Hinata, Neji, Tenten, and I are wearing. He did look at the people who were still there and remember how the two people who had left looked. So you're telling me I shouldn't wear green? He looked sad about that. So when he told him what he shouldn't wear, Naruto knew it would be bad. No, Lee, you can just wear green. What else is there? Lee didn't know what to do, so he hesitated and started circling the bush, hoping he was wrong. My knee warmers. Lee, you have to be serious, Tenten told him. Your friend Naruto is trying to help you. Lee's head was down. My spandex from my youth. Right, said Naruto. Lee, normal people don't wear spandex. That's because, unless it's made to be different, it shows things that are better left unknown. We hope yours wasn't. Naruto, that's not young. It is also the truth, Naruto said in response. Lee, do you really think that if you dress differently than your sensei, you will look old? Naruto put his hands over his head. That's where you say no. Guy sensei, what is the proudest moment for any teacher? Guy was back on his feet and had his fist in the air. When the student is better than the teacher. Lee, for that to happen, the student can't do everything just like his sensei. But he can still be like him. That's what you want, right? Lee said, it is, but he was a little quiet. Now, I know that Sakura likes to shop. If you ask her quietly and not a whisper, but also not a Shota, she might take you shopping for some nice clothes. Say after us, Sakura-chan. Sakura-chan. We would like to ask you for a favor. We would like to ask you for a favor. Naruto hit his head with his hand. Lee, you say, I, and, me, instead of, we. Lee, you don't. Oh, right. I have a favor to ask of you. We were hoping that you could help us. I was hoping that you could help me. Choose some nice clothes to wear. Choose some nice clothes to wear. Naruto gave a nod. You can stop right now, Lee. Hey, is that really going to work? Trust us, men have some of the worst fashion sense there is. Useful is better than stylish. But your clothes do look good. Ours is a special case. Now, some of the best dressed guys ask a girl they know to help them dress nicely. Sometimes you should use nice instead of youthful. This is going to be harder than I thought, Lee said. Guy told Lee that nothing worthwhile is ever easy. Do what he says. It hurts my heart, but at least you can still wear your clothes on missions. Saying, Guy sensei. Lee. They each got a dropkick. We hate that thing, ignore our spider sense because it is not dangerous. Naruto took a deep breath to settle down. Don't use genjutsu either. Naruto nodded when he was told that stopping that hug was his good deed for the day and that he was about to leave. Hey, Naruto-kun, wait, Tenten told him. Yes? Can you show me how you do that thing with the weapons? Naruto smiled. The best Kenjutsu genin in Konoha would probably want to know about it. Sure, Tenten. What kind of weapon would you like to see? That sword, the one you almost used to kill Neji, is back. Naruto said, yes, and made it with his hands. Here it is. You can hold it if you want, just not for long. Tenten smiled and took it by the handle. When Naruto let go of the blade, it fell. My god, this thing is heavy. At the end, Naruto grabbed the eye and pulled himself up. This is based on a real weapon, and it's just as strong as the original. We call these shadow weapons because they're just a copy of the original. If we lose them, they won't last long, which has worked to our advantage. She asked eagerly, can you show me how to use this? Is this a skill that anyone can learn, or is it only for people who are related to you? We don't know about that, but we do know that only a very small number of people can, he said. Tenten looked like she was about to cry. Just me and Haku-chan. But if you have a Zanbatu, we can teach you how to use it. No. They are too powerful for a mistress of blades not to have one. We'll go find a store with one today and start your training in it later. We would start today, but we still need to train for the third exam. He stood up and offered her his hand to help her up. She took it and was amazed by how strong yet gentle his grip was. Tenten said to herself, no, don't think that way. He's been taken. Take it. You also like Neji. Just say it, you think he's really cool and hot. Shut up, he said. Naruto asked Tenten, is something wrong? As he put his sword on his back. No, I'm just thinking about how I could use one of these big swords when I can't lift this shadow. It's not easy, but if you and I train, we might be able to become the 7 swordsmen of Leaf. Now that will be the day, Tenten said. Just as soon as I get the Kiri and you get the Samahata. I know that sword will never accept anyone. In fact, we'd rather have the Kiri, since this is the Cage Kiri. Tenten turned and froze. You mean to say you've seen the real Kiri, the executioner? We've seen it and held it. It's a black blade as tall as a man with a handle that's a little over 2 feet long. The new Mizukage, Momichi Zabuza, uses it. And you know him? You've met him? You took his sword from him? Yes, we know him, and yes, we took his sword from him in a fight. Kakashi-sensei did most of it, though. It was cool to see him stand on water and use mist to hide his movements. You hide your moves with what you call the Cage Kiri in the Enmu no Jutsu. Are you a fan of him? No, not at first. We learned the Enmu no Jutsu when this traitor stole a scroll from the Hokage along with the Cage Bunshin no Jutsu. He had gotten away from us, but we had the scroll, so we looked through it for techniques to use against him if he had done the same thing. We chose a jutsu that hit us as well as the Cage Bunshin. How did it all end? Bad. But we learned them, we lived, and the scroll was returned. We used a katana at first, but we like the Kiri better. Only one thing has ever stopped it. Naruto started walking toward the stores. Tenten must have thought about something. Who did it go wrong? He didn't seem like the kind of person who would lose to anyone. Stop, Mizuki-sensei, and come back with us. When the Chunin finally came to get the scroll Naruto had found, Naruto gave him an order. He had 2 katanas in his hands. The scroll was tied to a tree behind him. You beat me to it, Naruto. Don't think that you can stop me from reading that scroll. I deserve it because I had to watch over the demon of Konoha for so long. The demon? We know it's hard to deal with students, but that's no reason to call us demons. Not them, but you. Oh, you're talking about the Kyuubi. We get it. Please give up now, sensei. You still see me that way. Here, let me say it as plainly as I can. He took off his headband and cut a slit in the leaf with a knife. Is it all clear now? Naruto was taken aback. He knew that because of the Kyuubi, Mizuki didn't like him. Not many people did. But to hate him that much, to go that far. Why, Mr. Mizuki? You're getting married. You brought us together. It makes no difference. She isn't important. Getting that scroll is all that matters. Naruto's head dropped. Oh, and just so you know, all those hard tests you had before you woke up were made by me. From the beginning, I tried to make you fail. But Naruto didn't pay attention. You do something like that to Tsubaki? She cares for you. Can you do that for real? Gr. If she were here, I would kill her to prove my point. Actually, I think I'll go kill her anyway once I'm done with you. Naruto raised his head, a look of shock on his face, and a few tears rolled down his cheeks. Before he reached up for his mask, he put both blades down on the ground. He was the first person to ever pull it down. It covered his face so he wouldn't have to look at what was coming next. Then, we hope that Tsubaki will forgive us. Emu no Jutsu. Naruto made the hand sign that was written on the scroll and sent chakra through his whole body. The scroll said it could have been black or white, depending on how the person who cast it thought. It was evening. Mizuki looked everywhere around him for Naruto. He didn't see anything. He did hear him, though. Naruto was jumping from tree to tree like he did when he was a child. Now that he thought about it, Mizuki wished he had paid more attention. Die, you traitor. The next thing I knew, I saw blood and heard something hit the ground. Mizuki never heard it, though. Naruto and Tenten went to a store, where Naruto found what he needed. This one, he said. A Zanbatsu was hanging on the wall. It was the same length as the Kiri, but only 6 inches wide. The thickness stayed the same, and the handle was a foot long. It only had one blade, which was bent at the end. Just above the handle, there was a pattern of orange lines that moved together. It looked like a katana to them. Naruto said, "Hey, old man," to the store owner. "Mind if we take a look at that blade?" He was going to say no, but then he saw the one on Naruto's back. On the lookout for another Zanbatsu? Yeah, that or something like that. He stood up so Naruto could see him better. He had 2 scars over his left eye. His left arm was in his long red coat. Okay, then. You can get it down and look at it without killing anyone. Ten looked up at the moon. The Zanbatsu was at the top of the wall, and there were several other weapons between it and them. There's nothing. Naruto jumped onto the roof and grabbed the blade. Good, very good. Even though it is lighter than the Kiri, it is still strong enough to cut through anything. Remember the fallen, Naruto read from the blade. This blade was used before.
One look at the store owner showed that he was the one who had used it.
It took us a long time to find a store that sold one of these. And this one here is the only one. They are more popular in Kiri, the man told him. Yes, even the Mizuki uses one, said Naruto. This is from there? No. Well, here you go, Tenten, Naruto said as he fell to the ground. How do you feel? She grabbed it by the handle that was there. It still weighs a lot. But I can at least pick this one up. Are you thinking about buying that, girl? Asked the store owner. The 7 swordsmen. She started to struggle to lift it. Please use these. Naruto-kun has met one and started moving in a way that looks like the one he met. Don't do that. Phew. And he will be taking the next test. He asked, you met one? The question, which? Momichi Zabuza, said Naruto. That's the Kiri, then. Cage Kiri, Naruto said to fix it. I'm closing up shop, he told the few people who came in. He got his sword back, reached up, and put it on one of the hooks. Naruto looked at him and wondered what he was going to say. Even though he had a hunch. Alright. Hey, Tenten, we heard that Zabuza was coming here to watch your final exam. Do you know if that's true? The man stopped walking. He is dead, he told him. Zabuza would never leave his sword behind. At least not alive. We said it. The Cage Kiri is this. We made blades out of shadows. Naruto made an image of the sword he had just been holding. We liked the Kiri, so we made one for ourselves. He dropped the lighter weapon and let it go away. Zabuza is now the new Mizuki. He looked at Naruto again. Did he do it? Naruto was happy. Maybe we should talk after everyone else has left. I am Swordsman Sama. He agreed. Talk, told him the older man. First of all, do we agree? Are you one of the 7 swordsmen of mist who have been lost? Tenten stared at Naruto and then at the red-clothed man. Is that really true? It is. But I'm done with work. The scar, the red clothes. You are Orin the lone wolf. That must have been the counterblade, the Ashura. She was getting ready to run back to get it. Tenten, mind your manners, Naruto told her. Zabuza-sama and I met a few months ago. Before he killed that pretend Cage. Orin gave a nod. That's good to know. He did some things that I could never agree with. So, you're trying his style as well as his sword? We're attempting. We asked our sensei, Kakashi, as many questions as we could about him. Their past fights and the most recent one. Have you calmed down your voice? Asked Orin. That was the part of Zabuza's attack that he liked best. He didn't know how many people had given up just because they heard that voice but didn't see where it came from. Not quite, but we're trying to get there. Naruto asked, maybe you could teach us how to use this better. Yeah, I think that sounds good. If you are interested, you too, miss. I am, of course.
Naruto stood next to Lee and Gaara in the arena.
He was looking up at all the ninja and politicians who were there to watch. Hayate was right next to them. Up in the stands, he saw Tenten, Hinata-chan, Neji, and other people he knew, including Orin. Kin and Haku were not there to look out for the safety of the other. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarutobi said. The Mizuki and I want to welcome you to Konoha. Naruto gave the angry swordsman a smile. He must have found out too late that being a Kage was about more than just fighting. He will talk to him about Kage Bunshin later. It's too bad that the Kage won't be here with us today. But we will keep going. Sasuke asked, what is he doing here? Must be dying for something to do, Naruto told him. Besides, what better way is there to judge the new blood of a village? Too true, Hayate said. The first match, between Uchiha Sasuke and Rock Lee, will begin in 5 minutes, the Hokage said before sitting down. I wonder how many of them are my enemies. Zabuza gave him a quick look and then turned back around. Most likely at least 20. And I don't think the Kage would have come if he had known I would be here too. Yeah. I'm excited for the same match as you are, Sarutobi said. How are you? And which is that? It's Naruto. He has recently shown that he can control ice. So, I want to see what else he can do besides what he has already shown. He took a look at the Mizuki, who was coughing. You mean to tell me that the Uzumaki clan is related to the Yukina clan? What about Yukina? What are you talking about, Zabuza? Not a thing. Just an old clan from Mist that died out. One I thought was by himself. Ah. I'm not sure if they are or not. Naruto is the only Uzumaki who has ever lived in this village for a long time. His mother lived with us for less than a year before she passed away. And no one else knows anything, Zabuza thought. Not anyone. So Naruto is walking around blindly. He has a very strange Kekkei Genkai. At first, it was only faster reactions. He would then be able to make these swords. Then, before he met you for the mission, it came out that he had 2 equal parts. I knew they would make something different. I wasn't sure which. So that Haku can. This was a part of the act, of course. Maybe I should have found a way for Naruto to get to Kiri. No, I wouldn't have ever let him go. Also, it looks like those 2 were the last of their clan. He smiled and let it all sink in. They wouldn't, Zabuza said. They were thinking about it just 3 weeks ago when I saw them. First, they need to make the Uzumaki clan official. That is, a place on the council. That won't make many people happy. Tell me that you were able to squash it. For the moment, said Sarutobi. But Naruto has shown his worth quickly. He got here by beating a Hyuga. One who is known for being the most powerful person to use the Byakugan in a long time. It is. I kind of hope he does something like that again today. Because of more than one thing. A lot of people need to say they're sorry to Naruto. And they won't have to wait long to give it. Zabuza gave a nod. So the child didn't take her talent. He was right from the beginning. The time has come, Hokage-sama. There it is. He stood up again. Start the 3rd test. The Kage smiled when he heard the sound of the exam beginning. Baki, are all the men ready? Baki made a face, but he nodded. He should have been with his students and told them so. It's all set. We only wait for a sign. Good. We will finally pay everything back to the Leaf. Baki went back the way he came. Kankuro and his sister and brother were still there. Where he needs to be. He groaned. Just like a leader, who is always quick to blame everyone else but himself. He made Gaara kill all the men and women that Gaara has killed. The Hidden Sand has lost the daimyo's trust because it was he who told him that the ninja village didn't need the government. He had no choice but to pray that Gaara would find his father. Orochimaru stood still. Because of the blonde going up the stairs, he had missed his chance in the Forest of Death. But he also shouldn't have trusted those three. He would have never guessed that they would find Uchiha before he could mark him. He really wanted to curse them both. The fact that the boy could make weapons and use ice could be useful. With the Kyuubi inside of him, he could become even stronger than he was. But the Kyuubi would set the seal on fire. The boy Hayate put up his hand. Sasuke Uchiha. Hi. Rock Lee, huh? Hi. First match is ready for the third exam. Go. He put his hand down to show that the game was about to start. As soon as Hayate told him to, Sasuke turned on his Sharingan. Lee ran forward, and Sasuke caught up with him. Lee hit Sasuke, and Sasuke dodged. He kicked, Lee jumped back, and the next second he was back. You were better than the last time we fought, Lee said. I've been working out to increase my speed, Sasuke told him. Sasuke jumped back and pulled out 2 shuriken on ninja wire. He ran forward again while quickly spinning the shuriken around him. Lee realized that it didn't matter if he jumped over the blades or not because of the wire, so he decided to go after Sasuke himself. He got on his knees and jumped up. Good morning. Fire Blossom. When Sasuke saw him, he spun the kunai around him and said, Fire Blossom. Sasuke then put the wires in his mouth and did a few hand signs, ending with Tora. Fire came through the wires and hit Lee. Lee fell down and barely got hurt, but his bowl-cut hairstyle was a little messed up. It was no longer right. How much hair gel is in there? I see that I am not going to beat you at this level, Lee said. He looked up to where people were sitting and then at Sakura. Whom couldn't decide which team to cheer for? Sakura-chan shouldn't have to worry like this, so let's put an end to it. Lee climbed a tree and looked for his sensei's approval. He understood and was about to take his weights off. Damn it, I have to use that jutsu, Sasuke cursed out loud. Lee, against you, this is the ultimate jutsu. He made a hand sign. Lee, don't let him use it, Guy yelled. The boy jumped down from the tree, and as he did so, he dropped his weights. Too late. Look at the power of the only D-rank Kinjutsu. Ninja Centerfold, Hot Spring Sakura. Sasuke was covered in smoke, and Lee was about to punch him. As soon as the smoke cleared, Sakura hugged him with her hair wet and only a towel on. She said something to him in a whisper, which made his face turn red as he nodded. When Lee's fist suddenly snapped back, he hit himself instead of his opponent. Sakura became Sasuke again. He looked up at Naruto, who was frowning, and said, too easy. Yeah, I remember you using that against Iruka-sensei, he said. Hayate was shocked by what he had just seen. He couldn't believe that someone would hurt themselves in the final exam. Cough. Uchiha Sasuke is the winner. When Sasuke got to the stands, Sakura was running toward him. What did you just say? Sasuke gave her a smile. That if he did that, you would go on a date with him. But something else happened. Sakura punched him in the face. You jerk. You conceited jerk. How dare you do that to him? It would have been better if you had me naked and made him pass out from blood loss. I thought, though. No, you didn't think. That could have ruined his career. Of course, you don't care. All you care about is getting stronger so you can kill that person. Sasuke stopped talking. That's not all that matters to me. So what is it? My good friends. Sakura got even madder at him. Which you obviously didn't care enough about. Lee wanted to fight you fairly at your best, and you did this to him. She walked away from him with a stomp to show him how much she hated him at the moment. It was possible to be a ninja and win in any way. And then this happened. Sasuke made it impossible for him to become a Chunin. And Sasuke wasn't done yet. He made even Naruto mad. Nice job, Sasuke, he said as he rushed down to the arena with Gaara. We're upset, so we'll end this quickly. How are you going to do that? You saw what happened to the girl. We think all that must be heavy to wear. Hayate called out, the second match of the Chunin exam is ready to go. No jutsu for you. Death to dessert. As the sand crashed down on Naruto, darkness fell over the arena. It didn't hit. Zabuza smiled because he knew what was coming next. He will talk about the 8 main points. You already know this, Gaara, but there are 8 places on your body we can hit right now that will kill you. The sound of water dripping came from somewhere in the darkness. But now we have a better plan. Is it raining? Gaara asked as drops of water started to hit the ground. Close. It's coming from us, and it's going to flood the arena. Naruto had originally planned for Venom to hold the water so he could use it in his ice jutsus. But he thought that those wouldn't help him against Gaara. As the water filled the bottom of the stadium, it pushed the darkness up. Gaara tried to fly with his sand, but he was caught. As the darkness went away, a spiderweb was revealed to cover the top half of the arena. Naruto was hanging from it in the middle, with his mosque-slanted eyes looking at him. We thought it would take more to get you up here, he said. Then he stopped dropping the water, which was now more than 6 feet deep, and disappeared. Gaara knew that he would try to kill him at this moment. So, he made a skin-tight sphere around himself. Sand grains filled the air and made an eye in the sky. From the center, they moved outward. Still hidden, Naruto danced along the webs. Gaara would know where he was as soon as that moving sand hit him. He was pushed up against the wall and tried to find a way out. 2 of them. Gaara watched as the sand filled the arena, but he couldn't see Naruto anywhere. They looked everywhere to find him. The pupil moved around until it saw a web on it. Then it moved so it could see above it. Something was getting in the way of the view and making the air move. Found you, Uzumaki Naruto. Sand started to get closer to him. Naruto threw his cloak to the ground and jumped. The sphere that was holding Gaara was caught in his webs. Naruto jumped up on a web that wasn't holding him up and the sand is more wrapped around it. He cut the others, and Gaara was only held up by himself. Enjoy your bath. The web went over it, holding the sand in place, and then the sphere fell on top of it. Nothing happened for a moment. The sand then tried to get bigger. The webs grew and changed shape, but they didn't break. Hayate looked down from the surface of the water. Oh, I see. That's why you said that heavy thing. Shit. Naruto yelled as he jumped out of the way before a sandclaw tore through the webs and headed for where Naruto was. It fell back and started to break up. Call it, he said to Hayate.
Naruto said it again when he didn't answer right away. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto.
Naruto dove into the water and turned it back into Venom. He pulled off what was left of the web and dug in the sand. He found Gaara and pulled him to the surface. Breath, damn it. We don't want to give you mouth to mouth. He reached up, grabbed the web, and pulled himself up on it. Gaara was hanging by his feet, so Naruto hit him on the back. Gaara started coughing up the water that was in his lungs. Phew, that's good to hear. Gaara suddenly opened his eyes, and the sand around him started to move. Naruto dove to the right and disappeared. Just before he came back, Gaara felt something touch his neck. Kiri's opposition to the cage drew a thin line of red. His sand moved to catch up with him, but there was nothing it could do now. Gaara, you've already lost. Sit back and enjoy the show. I got lost? Yes, but it happens. At least you didn't lose your life for it. He put the cage Kiri back on his back and pulled him out of the sand. He put Gaara back on the ground and helped him stand up. Gaara still could not believe it. How? How could I lose? I can't lose. I'm a weapon. Wait, what? A weapon? Asked Naruto. We used to know a weapon. Perhaps you'd like to meet her. Gaara turned back to look at Naruto and started to growl. I can't be beat. Temari yelled, Gaara, calm down. Please don't worry. Listen to your teammate, Gaara, Naruto told him. If we have to fight again, we won't hold back. Gaara had to work hard, but he was able to get back in charge. Gaara reshaped his gourd as he walked back to the stands. There hasn't been a sign. I have to hold off until then. Once it is, your blood, Naruto Uzumaki, belongs to your mother. Naruto watched him leave, then put a web between the stands and Haku and swung up to meet him. He took off his mask and kissed her. Isn't it inspiring? Zabuza started clapping and laughing as he stood up. The kid is pretty good. Yes, he is, but so is Gaara. If Naruto were anyone else, he would have won. It bothers me, though, that the Kage would turn his own son into a weapon. I did something similar, but that's in the past, as they say. Do you think both of us should become Chunin? For a moment, Sarutobi closed his eyes. I'm on Gaara's side, but Naruto stayed back, so I want to see how strong he is first. Agreed. He has a lot of potential as an assassin. I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a hunter nin. I heard a rumor that he killed over 200 bandits in Wave. Is that true? Sarutobi was good at acting surprised. Mizuki-sama, that's crazy. How could a genin with that much strength take a Chunin exam? Plus, I read the mission statement myself and saw that there were less than 24 people there when his team arrived. Zabuza had a laugh. Of course, Hokage-sama, he said. At the time, I was the Mizuki too. Their looks said the same thing. Not true. Cough. The 4th Chunin exams match is about to start. Are you ready, ninja? Go. When Naruto heard that, he looked up from Haku. He had been flirting with her and telling Hinata that he would make it up to her later because their relationship was still a secret. What happened? Haku told him, Shikamaru won, and then gave him another kiss. But he said he would fail the next math class because it was too hard. How well did he do? He is good at strategy, and we think he will probably make Chunin. Naruto gave a nod. And what about Kiba? No, I was too hot-headed. I fell for all of his traps. Naruto nodded. He had thought the same thing would happen. Even with Orochimaru there, he wasn't good at thinking. Kiba was like an expert with weapons. During a fight, he found that it was best not to think but to act and keep moving. He didn't have a plan, so it was hard to know what he was going to do next. Shikamaru would have hated that, for sure. So he forced him to do what he wanted. How long did it take before Shikamaru started getting Kiba to do what he wanted? Over 5 minutes of dodging and attacking, Haku said. Maybe he will. We'll have to wait and see. Down below, Temari pulled out her fan and shot Shino's bugs back. He jumped out of the way of the wind and pulled out a few kunai, which he then threw. Temari couldn't swing her fan back quickly enough to move them out of the way. So she let the kunai hit the fan's wood. Her eyes got bigger as the kunai broke up into the bugs. Kawarimi no Jutsu. A log from one of the broken trees was used to replace her. Okay, anything that brings me close to him is bad. She looked back at the wall behind her. I need to stay far enough away that I can destroy anything She didn't like that this place was so small. She would have done anything to hear it in Suna. Then they would have been fighting in the open sands. She turned and looked at Shino. He just stood there and didn't even try to find her. A clear trick. She watched as she looked down at the grass. There it is. Even though it was small, the grass had moved. He was looking for her by sending his bugs in a spiral away from him. It would take them about 10 seconds to get to her. She had to stop right away. Besides, he was an Aburame. If one of them died, it would help them in the next battle. She bit her thumb and spread the blood on her fan. She said, summoning no jutsu, and threw her fan, making a much stronger wind blast. A one-eyed weasel with a kama came out of the wind, flying and spinning his blade. Shino looked at her right before he was cut in half. When the winds hit the walls, they got deep cuts. Temari couldn't stand it any longer when Hayate just stood there and watched for a while. Call the match already, she said. The Shino on the ground also turned into bugs. A kunai was put against her throat while bugs crawled all over her and drained her chakra. Shino told her plainly, give up or die. You knew exactly where I was, didn't you? Check your fan, he said. There was one red bug on the wood, but the rest were all black. You're a woman. They say they use a very strong chemical to attract men. I've always known where you were. Now give up before your chakras run out and you die. After a moment, she growled, but she couldn't think of a way out. Over there, Kamatari stood with his kama on his shoulder, waiting for her orders. He didn't know what to do. If he attacked her right then, he would cut her into pieces. Kamatari, make use of your wind. When Shino heard that, he got nervous. Before he threw his kama, the weasel gave a nod. It flew through the air and picked up wind as it went. He waited for her to admit that it was all a trick. But it was coming. He saw it then. If he threw it the way he did, the blade would go around her and cut him in half this time. Shino dropped just in time, as the kama went around Temari and the wind pulled the bugs off of her and threw them against the wall. Temari smashed the woman while she grabbed the scythe and jumped into the air. She went over to her friend on another gust of wind. As she gave it back to him, she scratched his ear. As always, a perfect shot, he said. Kamatari told her, one of these days, you're going to hurt yourself with stunts like that. Shoot him? Yes. She was taking deep breaths because getting rid of the bugs had taken a lot of her energy. Kamatari pulled out his sword and got ready to cut him up. Shino quickly took a look at what was going on. The winds that these two made were easy to use to get rid of his bugs. Aside from those things, he didn't have much strength. He couldn't get close enough to one of them to beat it because the other one would use its wind to push him away. It was the same with his bugs. So either he had to fight both of them at the same time or give up. He needed a bug that was bigger. Shino pulled out a real kunai, which he used to cut his thumb. He made a few hand signs with the kunai in his hand and then threw it. Temari hit it into the wall behind and above her. The blade cut into it, and the blood and chakra it held spread out. Shino would have smiled if he had been someone else. Temari was hit from above by a blast of hot air. A second one hit her right afterward. She could feel something big breathing on her. The two sand ninjas slowly looked up. And what they saw was a huge beetle called a kabuto. But this one was different from the others because it was covered in razor-sharp spikes that were big enough and sharp enough to tear her apart. All of its attention was on her and Kamatari. Do you think we can do that? Honest to God, no, they said. The bug ran at them, making a hole in the ground. They moved to the side, and Kamatari used his kama to hit it. The beetle caught it with his horn, hooked it with the end of his horn, and then threw it away. Then it hit Kamatari with the horn, which made him get stuck between the table and the wall. One of his claws went up in the air and then came back down. Kamatari was nervous, but he heard a click. Temari hit it with her fan as if it were a club and turned it over. Get him. Once you beat him, the bug will be gone, too. Kamatari nodded. Kill the general and beat the army, he said. He leapt into the air and landed on his back. Temari put her back against the wall again so she wouldn't be attacked from behind while she watched Shino and the beetle. Both of them were also keeping an eye on her for Kamatari. Kamatari jumped into the air behind the beetle and slashed its back with a much smaller kama. It turned around and saw that Kamatari had already dug another hole and was gone. Temari hit it with all the wind she could muster. Her chakra turned into wind blades, which cut the beetle very badly. It wasn't enough to stop it, but it did slow it down. Shino sent the usual bugs after her on the backswing. Kamatari might let you go if you give up, she told him. Velve, finish her, Shino told the beetle. The bug turned and ran at her. Kamatari jumped into the air behind Shino and swung the sword again. He had jumped forward to keep from dying. But it did cut him right from his shoulder to his hip. Temari. He threw his kama at the beetle, hitting it just as the first horns hit her. It went away in a cloud of smoke as Temari fell backwards and bled from a cut on her shoulder. He ran over to her on his short legs and didn't pay any attention to Shino, who was lying on the ground. Shino reached out, pulled up his sleeve, and showed a seal for storing things. From it came a spider, which he put on his back. The baby sword spider quickly stitched up the wound with its web and needle-like legs. When the spider went back to his arm, he closed it up again. He got back up, and both he and Temari were in pain. As he tried to get his balance, his hands started to shake. Temari, do you think you can go on? I will, she said. Don't forget that you will have more fights after this one, and you will need something left to fight with. If we stop now, we won't win. Get it? Kamatari grabbed his big kama and started spinning it. In the middle, a ball of wind chakra formed. He threw it at Temari, and she hit it with her fan. It ran into the fan, which groaned and tried hard to push it away. After a moment, it got bigger, and Temari threw it at Shino. From the explosion that followed, she couldn't tell if it hit him or not, but part of the wall fell, revealing some very shocked people at the snack stands. No one talked while they were looking for Shino. Naruto broke the silence when he asked, how did he get away with that? Shino came out from behind the wall and dusted himself off. This made Temari drop her shoulders. That's all? Not possible, said Kamatari. You should be a smear on the sports page now. There's no way you should have made it through that. He had thrown a kunai at it, making it explode before it hit him. He landed on a cushion of bugs because the wall behind him had fallen. Shino put his arm out toward them. Do you surrender? Was a bluff, since he was out of chakra and couldn't save himself. Temari could not do much else but growl. That attack was all or nothing. She was almost out of gas. She was willing to bet that he was, too, though. Who is Kamatari? I am done, he said. Just enough left in to see what you decide. Throw me at him. She put down her fan and jumped on his kama, which he then used to throw her at him. Shino's eyes got a little wider as she almost flew too fast for him to catch up with. He couldn't move away or defend himself, but he could still attack. Both used their fists to hit each other. They started to fall down. Before Temari pushed herself up on her hands and then to her feet, neither of them moved for a moment. Hayate looked at Shino and saw that he was still awake, so he began counting. Stop, said Shino. I give up. Sabaku no Temari, the winner. She looked around, but nobody was moving. Figures, she started to say before the cheers started. They were so interested in what was happening that no one dared move in case there was more. Naruto hushed over by Shino, down there. He took him by the hand and helped them stand up. Good job. Thanks, Naruto. I think you would have won quickly if you had faced her. Good luck in your match. Isn't luck a thing that doesn't make sense? Shino gave them a small nod as they took him away. I'm just trying to be a good friend. Naruto gave him a nod and looked at Sasuke. Then he took off his mask and grabbed the cage Kiri. Uchiha Sasuke, step down into the arena, Hayate told him. Sasuke started to go down the stairs, but when he got to Lee, he stopped. He really was sorry and said, I'm sorry, I should have done that better. Again, he had only been thinking about winning. Not how he was going to get it. Lee looked and agreed. You saw an obvious advantage and took it. I'm not mad about it. Go show us a very young battle. Guy smiled at how his student had taken this. So, when he said, Yosh, he joined him. Naruto was still looking at Lee when Sasuke got there. Then, he put out his hand to shake his. Maybe you did something wrong, but you helped him, so you're okay with us. They shook hands and moved away. The 5th match of the Chunin exams is about to start. Are you ready, ninja? Go. Dance of the Crescent Moon. Several clones rushed Sasuke as the real Naruto jumped into the air and brought his blade down, trying to cut Sasuke's collarbone in half. But Sasuke moved away from them. He looked into Sasuke's eyes and saw his Sharingan. How did we miss? For some reason, it was shaking. Yes, of course. He cut with the cage Kiri, and Sasuke pulled out a ninja that he had hidden on his back. He lowered it through the hole at the bottom. It was hit by the cage Kiri, and the bell at the end rang. He yelled, Rog, and dropped to the ground, holding his head. Sasuke used his sword like a springboard and kicked Naruto in the head. Naruto's hand grabbed his foot. I see. Hinata, Naruto-kun, we have a gift for you, Haku told them when they met in the forest a few days before the final Chunin exams. Hinata asked, what is it? Haku made a tiny piece of serum and put it in their symbionts. That. She pulled a bell out of her pocket, put chakra into it, and then rang it. Pain made all 3 of them tense up, but they didn't fall down. We worked out how to stay alive during sound attacks. Naruto told her, don't keep us on the edge of our seats. Tell us how, Haku-chan, they said. Before sounds hit my chakra, serum pulls it into itself. He keeps it in himself, so we can do it when we're not in battle. When the sounds hit him, he uses his chakra to make it hurt less instead of killing him. We're sure that if we act quickly, we can even stop it from killing us. Hinata and Naruto both gave her a big hug. Thank you, Haku-chan, said Naruto. Yes, Nisan, thanks. He was thrown into the wall by Naruto. Sasuke got back on his feet and ran toward him. Found a way to win, eh? Haku-chan did, replied Naruto. She gave it to us, and we really can't thank her enough. He put the cage Kiri on his sword to stop it from killing him. In a way, they started to copy each other's moves. The older ninjas from Konoha thought the same thing. A battle between Sharingan users. Naruto didn't have this kind of Kekkei Genkai, but his spider sense told him not to get hit. He liked this as he looked into Sasuke's eyes. They were still swaying back and forth, almost as if they were trying to change. On the other hand, Sasuke was not. Sharingan could tell him where he was, but right now he was just arguing. He had to strike. And it didn't help that his eyes were burning like they were. Not to mention that his ace in the hole wasn't much help anymore. Naruto tensed up when he heard it, but unlike in the forest, he didn't fall to the ground in pain. He fell down and couldn't block. The black Zanbatu got past his defenses and went straight for his neck. If Naruto didn't stop it, he was going to die. The fire flared up and then stopped. The cage Kiri was no longer just there. One image of it stopped at his neck, another went up to his head, and another went down. Several pictures showed what Naruto would do. Sasuke turned his sword around and hit Naruto's bell with it. It broke apart. Both of them ran away from the other. Naruto told him, "Your eyes now look like Kakashi's. We weakened the cage Kiri when we let go of it that time. Now, this one is even better." This was something Sasuke knew. When he was younger, he was told that the picture showed what his enemy was going to do, and that it could only be stopped by someone who knew what you were going to do with what you knew. He was looking at Naruto at the moment, and he could see what Naruto could be doing. It was hard to believe. If Naruto's father had seen this, he would have demanded that Naruto join their clan or be killed. Even Sasuke knew that his father thought the Sharingan was the most powerful thing in the world, that it couldn't hide anything. Naruto ran forward, and as he did, he moved things out of his way. He went down the path to his right and hit Sasuke in the stomach with a swing. Sasuke moved out of the way and stabbed low. There was only one picture left. Naruto made a second blade with his left hand. It was a curved Zanbatsu that he was sure he saw on a red-clad man in the crowd. When the two Zanbatsu swords of the cage crossed, they pushed down on his sword. Sasuke groaned when the image showed him what was going to happen next. And he couldn't get away from this one. Sasuke was thrown back when Naruto's foot came up over his swords and hit him in the face. Naruto lifted the cage Ashura like a spear and threw it. It hit the stone and came close to hitting Sasuke. He got into a fighting stance with the cage Kiri in his right hand and pointed toward the ground. The swords met again, and the bell was still hurting Naruto, but he kept going. Naruto took a step back and made the sign for the Enmu no Jutsu with his hands. Again, darkness fell on the arena. He wasn't sure if this would help much, but the Sharingan couldn't pierce things like the Byakugan could, so he hoped it would. Shit, which Sasuke said, meant that it worked. Naruto ran forward because he wanted this to be over. When Sasuke rang his bell again, he was 5 feet away. He said, "Ah," a few seconds later. The ninja to stop Naruto's swing. Kin will really have to be thanked for that. Kin? She gave you help? That just gave me a thought. Echolocation is a way to find out where something is near the source of sound. The hit made the bell sound again. Man. Can you feel that? He put out his hand, and a feather fell into it, getting him to fall asleep. Kai. He lost control of his genjutsu. That you, they said to each other. I don't think so, Naruto replied as he fell into the darkness. Gaara yelled, Uzumaki, Sasuke, as he jumped down at them. I want your blood. The sand Jinchuriki got in the way when Orochimaru ran to get Sasuke. Orochimaru growled when he said he was going to kill them. I need him to be alive. As the sand started to cover his right side, Gaara turned to him. Don't bother me. They will both die. Hayate pulled out his sword and went after Gaara. It was about to crush him because his sand was in the way. Naruto pulled him out of it and swung up with Sasuke and Hayate to the roof. As he looked around, he said, this must be the attack Kin-chan told us about. He landed next to Haku-chan and Hinata-chan. There's a sound from the north. From the south, sand. Help protect the Hokage and the Mizuki, Hayate-sensei. Sasuke, we're going to. When Gaara put his claw on the roof, he jumped out of the way. We're taking away Prince Charming from other people. Help where you can, Hinata-chan and Haku-chan. He hit Gaara with his web and swung him around a few times before throwing him in the direction of the forest. No. The Kazekage couldn't believe it. The battle had just started, and already something important had gone wrong. Gaara wasn't where there were the most leaf ninja for him to kill them. He was after 2 ninja who were jumping from building to get to the forest. Yes, someone around them said. Around the sand ninja, the fog started to get thicker. They heard the screams of pain. It's time for the thunder of the hidden mist. Raiga-sama, Renmara told him, there is no need to show off. He told his friend and apprentice, "Don't spoil my fun. Just when I was about to go meet this Venom of Konoha, you jackasses had to show up." "Think of it like this," a new voice told him. "Give us another chance to work together." "You're right, Mangetsu." "Oh my god," one of the sand ninjas said. 2 out of the 7 swordsmen of the Hidden Mist." "That's right," said Mangetsu. "I'm the flood of the Hidden Mist. The jerk Zabuza killed the former Mizuki and brought back together most of us." "Raiga-sama," said the 4th voice. "It's good to see you again, Mangetsu-sama." "Haku," the 2 said, sounding glad to see her. "We just wanted to find your boyfriend. Care to help us?" Mangetsu asked again. The Cage asked the air, "What the hell did I get myself into?" Baki thought, "Something that will hopefully kill you. Summoning is not a jutsu." The mist was gone when a rabbit with a 2-bladed sword on its back jumped out of it. When the mist cleared, it showed a man who was taller than most but thin and holding 2 swords with spikes. The other one had blue hair and teeth that were just a bit sharp. Even by the standards of Zanbatu, his sword was huge. It was 10 feet long, but not very fancy. It was just a sword that was over 2.5 feet wide and up to 6 inches thick, with a shaft that was a yard long. "Hello, Mr. Mandarb-san." "Haku-chan," he said. "So, what use does the blade of the Hair Tribe have for you?" Haku showed the sand ninja his finger. "Oh, okay." The blade worried that it would be dull. "Watch out, all of you who hate my home." Jiraiya yelled. "Because I am great." Just then, a pool of water appeared in front of him and was held there by chakra. Hinata stood on it and looked down at the snake inside. Summoning is not a jutsu. A smoke cloud came up, and a shark dove into the water. "Jiraiya-sama, we are Hyuga Hinata." As the shark tore into the snake, blood filled the water. Jiraiya frowned and said, "Upstaged by a child." Under her mask, Hinata smiled. "Scale-san, are you enjoying your meal?" "Have I ever told you how much I like being with you?" asked the shark. Naruto and Sasuke slowed down and turned to face Gaara. "Spidey, do you think you can handle this? Just don't get in the way, you chicken butt. I'm going to break you both up." They told him, "You can do it. If you possibly can. Uzumaki, I will kill you to prove that I am real." Naruto looked into one of his yellow eyes and saw that he was giving himself over to something inside him. Naruto told him, "It looks like you're being ignored again, Sasuke," which made him growl in anger. "I don't have the Uchiha out of my mind. I'd rather have your blood than his. Even though he will also die." That just made him even more angry. "I was Rookie of the Year, I'm the last Uchiha, and I have the full form of the Sharingan. And everyone pays attention to you." He gave Naruto a mean look as he jumped back to avoid Gaara's claw, giving Naruto a reason to smile behind his mask as his cloak covered him. "No, Uzumaki, not this time." Gaara's gourd broke, and the sand that fell on him turned him into a huge raccoon dog. The cage Kiri bit into it, but he couldn't reach the flesh because he was stopped. "Die. Sand along the blade until you reach the hand that is holding it." To find that there wasn't any, Naruto came back to where Sasuke was. That didn't really work out. "Take a step back and let a pro do it." "Sure," Naruto said to Sasuke, pointing forward. "You think you can do what he tried and couldn't?" "I am sure I can." "Saru, Ushi, you." He made the 3 signs with his hands and then lightning started coming out of his outstretched left hand. The end. He ran at Gaara with his lightning blade in front of him. Gaara swung a claw at him, hoping to break him into pieces. Instead, Sasuke cut straight through it to his upper arm, just below his shoulder. A lot of blood came pouring down through the hole in the sand. "Damn, that threw me off." "Still, that's more than you did." Gaara was getting scared. He lost a lot of his bicep when he got hit, and he was now bleeding to death. As the blood stained the sand red, Gaara started to stumble a bit. He had never felt pain before, which made it hurt even more than it would for most people. Sasuke smiled at Naruto as he clapped his hands. "Great work, Sasuke." Gaara fell unconscious to the ground. When the sand started to move, Naruto was about to walk over to see if he was still alive. Then, it wrapped around the wound and put pressure on it to stop the bleeding. Then, as the skin grew back together, it got bigger. What in the hell? Gaara got back on his feet and started laughing as the sand around him grew. But his voice was very different this time. "Ha ha ha ha. Isn't that something?" His sand piled up around him until he was so tall that even the trees couldn't reach him. "I, Ichibi Shukaku, am finally free. I think I'll celebrate by destroying that village." Both genin dropped their jaws as far back as they could tilt their heads. "Great work, Sasuke." "I like that rabbit," Raiga shouted as Mandarb killed more ninja. From his two swords, lightning bolts were going everywhere. Mangetsu smiled and swung Slaughter, the blade of his sword, while Rotter, the huge counterweight at the end of the handle, hit a sand ninja in the chest, breaking his bones. "He is impressive," the cold voice told him. Mangetsu and Raiga said, "We know that voice," while they were still attacking. "Long time, boys," Orin told them. "Fuck." One of the sand who was still alive yelled. "That's the fang of the hidden mist, Orin." "Where the hell have you been?" Mangetsu yelled. "Retirement," was what Orin said. "So, I've heard that everyone is taking on apprentices." "My little brother, Suigetsu," Mangetsu said. "I guess you can say Renmara here," Raiga said. Orin swung his sword down and hit a sand ninja, pushing him out of the way. "I guess you could say that I also have one now." "Orin-sensei," Tenten yelled as she used her sword to block. "Are those people who I think they are?" "My friends," said Orin. The three swordsmen put their weapons down and turned to look around. None of their enemies survived. Haku was sitting on a pile of sand ninja who were all asleep and had needles stuck all over their bodies. "How is Zabuza doing?" Raiga told him, "The jerk is good." "You're coming back now?" "Nope, I'm fine." He turned to see Tenten. She used a sword that looked like the Ashura. In reality, it was just a heavier katana to prepare her for a Zanbatu. "You're still moving too slowly." "Hi, Orin-sensei," she sputtered. The heads of the other two seven swordsmen shook. "She doesn't look like much," Mangetsu said. "That sword probably doesn't weigh even 30 pounds. "Hey," yelled Tenten. She lowered her head when Orin said, "It weighs 25. He looked her way. "Don't worry, those two started out with 20-pound swords." "Did not," they said, which was a lie. Raiga asked, "So, where do you think the case cage is?" Haku gave a grin. "We do know." She pulled on a web behind her, which looked like a tree swing with a body hanging from it. He groaned, and the man who was tied to it started laughing at him. The other, a man named Baki who was the Jonin sensei for Temari, Konkuro, and Gaara, was sent to protect him from Mandarb. He told Mandarb to go to hell. "Well, where is the rabbit?" Mandarb told the cage, "The blade is right here," and he tapped him on the back with his back leg. This one was strong, but he didn't try very hard. His soldiers were more important than the rest of the people he led. Haku came up to him and scratched behind his ears. "I appreciate it, Usagi-chan." His right back leg was hitting the ground when she was handling him. "It's not often that a summon is turned into a pet," Mangetsu said. Haku said, "Raiga-sama, you told us you wanted to talk to Naruto-kun." "What are you talking about?" "Zabuza told us that he helped you when you were about to die." "I want to ask him a Renmara-related question." "What about?" "Zabuza told me that he healed you when you were dying. I was hoping he could do something about the fact that Renmara couldn't walk." Haku was happy. You wouldn't think Raiga had a son like love for Renmara, but he did. Why do the 7 swordsmen always take in lost people? She asked out loud. When they got what she meant, all 3 of them scratched the sides of their faces. That's something you should talk to us about, Raiga-sama. We. Ha 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 ha. Isn't that something? Everyone looked in the direction where the voice that sounded bad came from. They couldn't see it because of the wall. Hakud jumped onto the wall, and then the others did the same. A sand-colored raccoon dog climbed above the trees a few miles away. What the hell? Mangetsu asked. Don't be afraid. Naruto-kun is there and will take care of it. Naruto told Sasuke to run. No way, no how, am I? That's a Biju. You know about them from the past, right? Fuck, Sasuke said as he looked at the thing again. It had not yet seen them. And what are you going to do? You run, and we'll slow it down. Sasuke growled, how are you going to do that? We have no way to make fire. We can't use jutsu to shoot out of our eyes. But. Naruto smiled as he took off his mask and held up the cage kiri. We are the best at what we do, he said. Go. Sasuke had no reason to disagree. Before he could run, Naruto ran his thumb along the edge of his blade and put it on the ground. 5 wolves showed up wearing vests that said, Winter Fangs, in kanji. How are you? Hey, it's him. Said one person. Hunter, how can the Winter Fangs help you? Someone is attacking my village. I need you to get Sasuke back as soon as possible and find any shinobi who is wearing a headband with a music note on it. They should have a bit of a snake smell. Everyone smiled. I like this hunter, said someone else. Get on up, boy. They were gone in a few seconds, and Naruto went back to working on the problem. Hey, big guy, come down here. Shukaku looked at him from above. You can spell ugly, right? You. After blinking, it started to growl. You'll die. Shukaku used his claw to hit Naruto. He didn't smell blood, though. Where did he go? Too easy, said Naruto. He shot 2 webs at the branch he was on and went around it twice before tying them to the tail. Hey, what's the point of such a long tail? Trying to make up? You might not even be able to break a tree with it. Not even me. I'll show you what it is used for. He put his tail down because he wanted you to squash this annoying worm. But when it hit the ground, he lost feeling in his arm. When he looked at it, it was gone and the arm was back to being made of sand. You naughty little bug. I'll take you apart and use your bones to make a ring. I think now is a good time for us to stop playing. No jutsu for summoning. Naruto was standing on the boss hair when the tower of smoke cleared. Hello, Usagi-sama. How are you today? Hello, Naruto. The people you hang out with are interesting. He gave a shrug. Sometimes it works out that way. Ready to find out if I'm good enough to be your summoner? Let's do it then, challenged Shukaku. I couldn't wait to eat some rabbit stew. If you can, runt, said Usagi. The hare started running so quickly that it couldn't stop. As he went by, he hit Shukaku with his sword. He dug his claws into the ground to stop, turned around, and ran back at him. Who's this, Naruto? A Jinchuriki, said Naruto. He passed out, and the demon covered his body with sand to get out of him. Then we get the boy out of bed. I need you to go wake him up for me. I'll take care of him. Usagi ran at Shukaku and threw him to the ground. Naruto jumped into Shukaku's mouth from the air. Good luck, was what Usagi said. Naruto got inside his mouth and stuck his sword into the side of his throat. He could only guess that Gaara would be in 2 places. The heart or the mind. It made the most sense to protect the heart because it was the most important. He called forth the howls of the Earth Pack by standing on the blade and making it bigger. I'm looking for someone and need your help. He is somewhere inside this sand body. He put his foot on his sword and said, I can smell him on this. The pack's leader sniffed it and started sniffing around in the sand. His scent is on everything here. Then we have to split up, said the wolf who was the smallest. Naruto gave a nod. 7 wolves started digging in the sand. Every once in a while, they could feel the battle outside hitting the thing. Finally, they got to a room that would be the heart. It was full of air, and Gaara was being held up by it, who looked like he was having a good time sleeping. Naruto turned away from the howls of the earth and went inside. Shukaku slowed down. Usagi was getting tired and wanted to keep his strength, so he slowed down. He didn't know why, but when he felt a change in the room where he kept the boy, he got it. You have some nerve, he snarled. We still have to fight. Yes, it is. You can't kill me because I'm only made of sand. The boy is my only weakness. And because he is locked up in me, you can't get to him. I don't care what you do to me. Usagi knew that he was correct. Even though he lost an arm, all of his wounds healed quickly. I'll talk to you after I talk to the intruder. Naruto dodged a claw by jumping. It came up from the earth. The Chibi Shukaku told him, you did well to get here. It stood only 7 feet high. But you won't spoil my fun so quickly. Great Biju, you were being used. We don't care, Shukaku said to cut him off. I only care about killing and breaking things. When I'm done with you and that rabbit outside, I'll destroy your village. We stopped one Biju before, and we will do it again. Whoever it was, they were either stupid or under someone's control. We can't die because nothing can kill us. We can't do anything else. Dumb or being told what to do. How does that make you look? After a minute, Shukaku gave a shrug. You make a good point. But that happened long ago. And your friend was so kind that he hurt my host so much that he is now in a coma. He might not wake up for months. Naruto said the only word that could explain what was going on. Shit. Then you can only do 2 things. We must find a way to wake him up or kill him. He made the sign for the Enmu no Jutsu, and the room went dark. He made the hand sign for the Shunshin while holding the cage Kiri over his shoulders and teleported next to Gaara. He started to spin around, trying to split him in 2. He didn't have anything against Gaara. He was just doing what he was told. Gaara's life was saved by the tip of his blade. He didn't know why. His spider sense didn't tell him anything. Something's wrong, boy, Shukaku said right next to him. He pulled back the blade. Can't find me in all this darkness? That's because I'm everywhere you look. It was hard for Naruto to believe. Only Haku and Hinata have ever been able to get past his senses. We'll get by you, Naruto said as he let go of the darkness. We won't let anyone destroy our home. He jumped back and held the cage Kiri out in front of him. When Shukaku tried to hit him, Naruto turned Shukaku's arm around and cut it off. It's way too slow. He moved the tip of the blade forward and stabbed the demon in the stomach, then pulled the blade to the side. As the demon broke up, Naruto ran to find Gaara. He jumped and cut down with the sword from above. He was thrown against the wall by a strand of sand that wrapped around him. Boy, I'm not going to die so easily. Just die. The sand started to close in on him. Naruto managed to get his hands off of it and pull himself away from the death that was waiting for him. And I can see that you are not someone who gives up easily either. Standing still, Naruto decided to do something strange. Get ready for our first move. Ninja middle fold. When Shukaku saw Naruto do that, he couldn't believe it. He then looked at him from every direction. The style, the talent. You must have worked hard on this for a long time. Before Naruto changed back and tried to attack, he sweated. But Shukaku hit him in the jaw with a punch. Naruto stood still after getting hit, but he stood up straight. Under his mask, Naruto moved his jaw. He put up his hand and opened his mouth. He coughed up blood from that last blow and spat it onto his gloved hands. He made the hand signals that were needed and pressed them into the sand. Skarmory. As Shukaku grew and blew up, Usagi jumped out of the way. Skarmory let out a scream that was loud enough to shake the forest. He held both Naruto and Gaara in one of his claws. Shukaku was made when the sand came back together. Naruto, that's interesting. I've been waiting for something like this for a very long time. Skarmory landed next to Usagi and put the two Jinchuriki on him. Naruto told them, Skarmory-sama, Usagi-sama, Shukaku's life is tied to Gaara. If we kill him, we'll also kill the Biju. The Raven was watching the boy. Since he was unconscious, he couldn't fight back. No, Naruto, not yet. I will first try to beat him. Shukaku, Skarmory said, showing respect with a nod. Which was given back. So the puppy is also your collar. The wolf, the hare, and the raven. How cool. I wish you were my host. Sorry, but we're taken by Kyuubi. Shukaku took a moment to look at him. Damn. He raised his arm, and Gaara's shot went at Usagi. Naruto fell off of Usagi as she jumped. Summoning is not a jutsu. There was another tower of smoke. Ukami-sama, we are glad to go hunting with you again. A demon, said the big wolf. A strong rival. As they circled him, the three cubs with him started to growl. Shukaku looked at each of them in turn and grumbled. As much as I hate to say it, I can't win this battle. Skarmory told him, we're not going to let you go. Not just so you can run away later. Gaara was on the ground when Usagi put his hand inside his shirt. He took a bottle out of it and drank from it. He coughed and said, damn. He put just one drop into Gaara's mouth. Shukaku opened his eyes as far as they could go without breaking his body. Gaara, on the other hand, put both hands to his throat and started to choke. He yelled for a second before his eyes rolled into the back of his head. You killed him, Naruto said from the top of Ukami. No. That's what people call a gut shaker. People often joke that if you can handle this poison, you can handle any poison. Then why did you give him that? He looked at Usagi. Because it drains a human's chakra until they are almost dead. Because of this, Shukaku is no longer here. We don't have to worry until this boy wakes up. They heard a crash as a huge snake with two heads moved toward the wall to break it down. You did what I asked, Naruto. You can now call the Hare Tribe whenever you want. Ukami, Skarmory, I'd love to scare some humans to death right now. He started running, and a few seconds later he ran into the snake, which he then threw away from Konoha. Naruto jumped onto Skarmory. I'm sorry, Ukami-sama, that I called you so late in the battle. It isn't over yet, said the wolf that Naruto was standing on. And there are still a lot of people to fight, said someone else. They all started running forward while yelling. Ukami had a laugh. Pups. He went after them. Skarmory nodded and said, taking on a demon and forcing it to stop, that's not bad. Because all of you were there. Over time, you'll get strong enough that you won't need us against anyone but the strongest enemies you can think of. He went with the flow. Look, he said when he saw another snake, dinner. When the sound and sand forces were stopped, the people defending Konoha cheered. Since they were being attacked by both the wolves of the tides and Usagi, most of them just ran away. Skarmory-sama, before you eat, we have to make sure that the old man is still alive. Who is this, old man? The leader. And he's with one of my most important friends. Who is this acquaintance of a friend? Momichi Zabuza, the current Mizuki, is the father of my girlfriend. Let's check to see if he's still alive. Skarmory did a flip and turned toward the stadium. What do we have here? A red cube was on the roof next to where the big raven landed. He touched it with his beak and got a shock that could kill a person. How sad. He went up into the air again. The people waiting for him saw him fly away. What does he plan on doing? Skarmory circled the building once, then twice, getting faster each time. He got out of it and drove right toward it. He moved both wings in front of him, making a wind blade that hit the barrier. It was tense for only a second before it blew up. When the smoke cleared, the Anbu saw the 4 people lying on the ground with blood coming out of their mouths and eyes. One of them moaned one last time, and then his chest fell and never went back up. What the hell, said Orochimaru, stopping his summoning. The dark openings in the ground disappeared. Fuck, he yelled when he realized he'd given up. You have a lot more to worry about than a failed jutsu right now, a voice that made everyone inside freeze said. Zabuza's eyes were as wide as they could get, and he thought they were going to fall out of his head. Hayate seemed to be about to pass out. Even the Sarutobi looked a little uneasy. Orochimaru asked them, isn't there something bad behind me? You bet your scaly asses there is, he heard the demon child say from above and behind him. When Orochimaru turned around, he saw him sitting on the head of a huge raven without his mask on and with a huge grin. Naruto, if I can't eat the snake we saw from the air, can I eat this one? I have no problem with that at all, Skarmory-sama. Have a good meal. Orochimaru Teme, would you be kind enough to season yourself? Skarmory laughed at that, and then he lunged at Orochimaru. As the snake jumped back, he lost his right arm, which caused a spray of blood. Screw it. He opened his mouth wide, and 2 hands reached in and pulled out another Orochimaru from the first. Naruto looked like he couldn't stand it. Well, that's just mean. Just means that there is more of him to eat now. Skarmory took another swing at him. This time, Orochimaru jumped back to avoid the beak and the talons. He opened his mouth, and out came a snake and then a sword. It tried to stab Naruto as it flew at him. Skarmory lifted one of his wings, and they heard the sound of metal hitting metal. Naruto jumped off Skarmory, flipped over Orochimaru, and fell through the hole Skarmory had made in the roof. At the same time, he wrapped a web around one of the exposed beams and under Orochimaru's chin. The beam was pulled back, and Orochimaru hit it hard. He tried to get the web off his neck, but Naruto pulled too hard. Orochimaru kept fighting until he saw that Skarmory was about to kill him. He tried to get out of the skin like he had before, but he couldn't keep his mind on it long enough because he was being choked. Orochimaru was desperate, so he looked around and saw that his Sound 4 were either dead or dying. He looked to the side to see if there was. He noticed Naruto. When Orochimaru opened his mouth, something that looked like a huge white snake came out. You may not be SS's Suke, but your power will do. The snake turned around the beam and shot at Naruto. He jumped out of the way, but then all the snakes in his body came to life and attacked him, too. Naruto cut them up, and some of the blood went into his mouth. To his horror, he stopped moving. I won't be turned down. He went for Naruto, and Naruto couldn't stop him. The battle was over, Sand had left, and most of Sound had been killed or put in jail. Konoha had been able to stop the invaders, and less than 10% of them were hurt or dead as a result. Orochimaru was no longer alive. Sarutobi had a lot to be happy about. But he couldn't stop thinking about the genin who had saved him and his home for sure. No one knew why Naruto was in a coma in the hospital. Also, before the Raven Skarmory stabbed Orochimaru, everyone said they saw a white snake jump out of his mouth and attack the blonde. While Naruto was out of sight, there were sounds of a fight. When they got to the edge and looked down, they saw the dead body of a monster snake and Naruto lying on the ground, not hurt. The doctor told him, Lord Hokage, we don't know what's going on. We have an idea, though. Take a look. He pulled up one of Naruto's eyelids to show him the eye. It was going back and forth between a normal human eye and a snake eye. I think Orochimaru is trying to get inside Naruto's body. If the council finds out, they will order him to be killed, Sarutobi said when he stopped talking. Bring me Inoichi, he told the Anbu who were waiting in the hall. The Jonin was rushed in not even 2 minutes later. Hokage-sama, tell me, what is it? This genin still has to fight, he told him. Right now, Naruto is fighting a battle in his mind, and I want you to go in there and help. Inoichi's eyes grew wide with surprise. Hello, Lord Hokage. He stood over Naruto, forced him to open his eyes, and then, after staring at them for a moment, he fell over. Orochimaru didn't get it, because he wasn't supposed to end up here. Webs went as far as the eye could see. After a moment, he realized he was in Naruto's mind. Boy, where are you? Even here, you have to see that you can't stop me. You don't give us enough credit, Naruto said from all around him. We're not going to give you our bodies. Even though Naruto looked around, he knew where Orochimaru was. Right under Orochimaru, on the other side of the web he was walking on. Venom, if we lose, kill our body and look for Hinata or Haku. They'll find you a good place to stay. He turned his head sideways. Wow, my head is just full of guests today. Inoichi didn't get what was going on. When Naruto was young, he had been in his head. It used to be a sewer. But none of that was left now. A change this big didn't just happen. He went to the edge carefully and looked down. The fact that he could leave was a good thing. The drop went on forever. He went back to the middle and started walking. He laughed bitterly as he tried to figure out what kind of mind this was. As he walked, he realized that someone was after him. He didn't know who had done it. Something suddenly came down from above, grabbed him by the head, and lifted him up. Aw! It was a scary thing. It growled at him for a second before looking at him closely. Who are you? I recognize that voice. What is Naruto? Naruto pulled back his mask and smiled wryly. You terrified the crap out of me. We thought that you were Orochimaru. He took a moment to look around. It isn't safe here, but we know where the safe place is. He helped Inoichi climb up to a different web line. This is the way. Naruto ran for what seemed like forever, and it was always the same. Inoichi lost track of where they were very quickly. At last, they reached a stone corridor that was held up by webs. No way to get there. It's changed since the last time we were here, Naruto said. Good. Stay with us. Naruto and Inoichi moved toward it. Good, said Inoichi with a sigh of relief. He can't reach us from here. Naruto asked, how is that good? We are stuck in my own mind, and a snake-hating jerk is trying to take over our body. He looked toward the door. We have to battle him. An idea. It's something. Inoichi looked around, and when he got to the end of the hallway, he saw a dark room that went on past the cages. He saw a door, too. He went over to it and tried to open it because he was interested. Naruto shut it hard and kept it shut. You're a fool. A few times, something hit it before it got quiet again. He almost let out a Kyuubi when his jaw dropped. Naruto, what was that? We do, Naruto said in reply. It's our shadow side. The Kyuubi is behind those bars, he said, pointing down the hall with his thumb. Inoichi looked at it and Naruto at the same time. Then what in the hell was that? Demons are not only monsters, Naruto said. Some of them can be found in people, but not like Kyuubi, which lives in us. When we were younger, we tried to help someone who had been hurt. We felt so helpless and angry that we drew on the fox chakra and turned into that demon. Is that why you're saying, we? No. Yes, that thing is bad, but it is not alive. Just a part of me that wouldn't be much of me without the fox's chakra. He made a few hand gestures and a wall of ice came up to cover it. Then, as he touched his hand in the shape of a 5-pointed star while mumbling something, his chakra made it glow. It's just a door now that we can open when we want to. This will make it last for good. Boy, which came from Kyuubi. Don't forget about our deal. We haven't forgotten, Kitsune, Naruto said. Deal. When we need it, he gives us chakra in exchange for memories. It's time for us to keep our end of the deal. He turned around, ran to the edge, and then jumped. What kind of memories? Inoichi asked. The Hokage had been in hundreds of fights over the course of his long life. He has been in many battles, wars, and fights. So why was he pushed up against a wall and afraid for his life because two kunoichi had only raised their voices? They were his girlfriends, though. Haku yelled, "What do you mean you don't know? You were right there when he got hurt, and you don't know." And now Yamanaka-san has gone into his mind and hasn't come out, Hinata said, being just a little bit more polite. Hokage-sama, we can tell when you're lying. Zabuza's face showed that he was scared. What has he done to hurt her? That's nice, Hinata, Kiba told her. Ladies, Sarutobi said, trying to calm them down, I'm sure they're fine. Lies, they yelled. Haku grabbed him from above and pulled him down to her angry face. What's wrong with our girlfriend? The itsy bitsy spider went up a waterspout, Orochimaru sang to get Naruto to come out. The snake came along and killed the spider. You wish, Naruto behind him said. This is the way we think, Teme. And you don't belong here. I go where I want, and I take what I want. You won't catch us. The area was dark because of the Enmu not jutsu. We are going to kill you. I think not, boy, said Orochimaru. There's something I've noticed about you. You have a lot of chakra but not very many jutsus. Enmu is the only one you really use often. He turned to avoid getting hit. Then another from a different direction. So you know about Kage Bunshin, that's impressive. When Naruto let go of the jutsu, 300 stood there. Correction, that was very impressive. The clones ran at him, but he punched, kicked, and used jutsus to kill them. One of them was lagging behind, so Orochimaru ran after him. He took this one by the shoulders, and this white stuff started to wrap around him. You're too. The Naruto in front of him turned into smoke and went away. Die, said a Naruto he had hit and sent away after he was done with his hand signs. Orochimaru was surrounded by ice mirrors and he punched him a lot of times. But when he slowed down enough, Orochimaru pushed him off course and into a mirror, breaking it. He picked him up and reached his hand out to him. Around it, ice formed. I'm already getting better than you. Now, show me that sword you love so much. But it didn't take shape. What the heck did you do, boy? As he asked that, he punched Naruto and knocked him to the ground, where he started to laugh. We don't take any risks, Teme. You want to use our skills? You can't have them. Behind the Kyuubi, we locked them all up except for the ice behind a wall of it. Orochimaru gave him a kick in the gut. Aw. You. The second time Orochimaru picked him up, he broke his arm. How do I get it open? You can't, said Naruto. Before getting a punch in the gut. Nothing will be able to change it. Why didn't you put a seal on your ice? We already told you, we used it to seal the others. Orochimaru told him, you're lying, and then threw him to the ground. Why? We told lies. Through the pain, Naruto said. This side of Kyuubi's cage is where it is. But somewhere you can't get to it. Where is it? There aren't many places to hide in this place. Go to Shi. There was another sound like a bone breaking. Naruto gritted his teeth so that he wouldn't enjoy hearing him scream. This is the last time we think we're strong enough because of where we are. He really didn't think something like this would happen. Say, tell me. The Kyuubi is wrapped in a stone shell. The only way out is to let Temari in. It has never bothered us that we climb walls. But after we locked up the skills, we had to use ice to get back across. Naruto was sometimes a great liar. Then show me what hurts, and I'll stop it. Fuck. Naruto got kicked in the head, which knocked him out. When he got there, too, Orochimaru looked like he was going to tear him apart. He said in a strained voice, "You have a good point." Naruto limped back to get him. He made an ice bridge and walked across it. When Inoichi saw him, he called out, "Naruto," and ran to help. Orochimaru made an ice wall between himself and them. "I will kill you, Yamanaka, when I get this boy's full power." He watched the ice. "How do I get it open?" "No, you can't. I need to use the Kyuubi's chakra on it in a certain way." He moved forward while praying to Kami that Inoichi would realize he needed to leave. When he looked back, he saw that he was still there. Damn. When he touched the first point of the 5-pointed star, his hand turned red. Venom, toxin, hybrid, serum, and truth. He put his hand behind his back and punched the middle. Carnage. The ice broke up, and the door could be opened. Orochimaru hit him out of the way and threw the door open. What he saw was both lovely and awful at the same time. It had no shape and was red. And it sent out strands of itself. Yes. Give me control. But it went all the way around him, grabbed Naruto, and pulled him in. The door shut hard. A bang came from the other side after a short time. The door broke on the third one. "Ha ha ha ha," said a tall, thin, red figure as it walked out. "Good day, Orochimaru. Did you really think I'd give you my power?" He moved his finger back and forth in front of his face. "Bad, bad, bad. If there was anyone who deserved it, though, it would be you. But you can see that I don't swing that way. This isn't in the boy's bloodline." "You're right," it said with a happy smile, showing off those sharp teeth. "I am Carnage. Think of me as Naruto when he is full of anger and hatred." He didn't look at me because he wanted to keep everyone safe. But, thank goodness, he let me go so that he wouldn't feel bad about killing you. "I'm going to have fun with you, Snake. Even if you're hungry for blood, you can't beat me." "Oh, but you're wrong, you see. I'm not here to beat you up. I'm here to kill, hurt, kill, destroy, and have fun, just like any psychopath. Come this way." He swung his claw at Orochimaru and stabbed him in the stomach. While he laughed, he was pulled back to Carnage. The tiny snake moved slowly through the grass. The spider came along and kicked the snake's behind. He ripped his stomach open. Orochimaru's guts were pulled out by Carnage. And again stabbed him. The tendrils that were coming out of his body became stiff and sharp. They all stabbed Orochimaru and let him cry out in pain so they could hear it. And the itty-bitty snake was. Again, Carnage gave a grin. "Give Fox what for?" Orochimaru was hit by the ice several times before it broke when Carnage swung him around. He finally threw him through the cage to the Kyuubi. When he heard the screams of pain and pleas for help, he laughed that crazy laugh of his. It was over way too soon for Carnage. "But there's more," they said. He looked over at Inoichi. Inoichi had already stopped eating because of what Naruto did. Now he was going to show him what it was like. "It's Naruto. Get your act together. At the moment, Naruto is not here. After the beep, please leave a message." He moved forward one step, then stopped. He didn't seem to be getting anywhere. Then, with a roar of pain, his claws grabbed his head. Naruto's face could be seen under the mouth, where it had split. Run, Inochi. Get out. We can't stop him. Yamanaka nodded, then left. He looked at Kyuubi. Sever the chakra. Don't give it to me. He got down on his knees and started hitting his head on the stone. Usagi asked, "What is that?" As he looked inside the hospital window at Naruto. "Move, rabbit," Ukami said, pushing him out of the way and sniffing inside. The chakra of the Kyuubi is out of control. He was pushed back by Usagi. "You go inside and give him this to drink." He put his bottle up. Naruto's nurse took some of the drink that was offered and poured it down his throat. Naruto's eyes opened quickly and looked red for a second before going back to being blue. He started to choke on the disgusting liquid and tried to throw up. "What in the hell did you do to us?" He had a terrible cough. "Gutshaker," said Usagi. Inoichi got back up, but he was shaking. While the door was being thrown open, Naruto's two most important women jumped on him. Hinata said, "Thank goodness you were okay, Naruto-kun." "We don't know what we would have done without you," said Haku. "Naruto," said Sarutobi from the doorway. "You really are Naruto, right?" "We are," he said in reply. "He is," Inoichi said. He had to let go of the demons in his mind to kill Orochimaru, but he did it. "Never send me back in there again, Hokage-sama." Naruto coughed one last time and then said, "We're fine now. If it doesn't get enough chakra, carnage can't happen." Naruto wouldn't tell Sarutobi what was going on. He finally gave up when Inoichi told him everything. Naruto let go of all his summons and took a step back. He was so weak that he couldn't even try to get away. He had no choice but to let Hinata and Haku heal him and Venom. When he found Gaara, he was surprised to see that his siblings were taking care of him. They didn't have much to do anyway. They found out what was wrong from the doctors. "The good news is that his brain is working normally again," she said. "He is no longer in a coma." Temari asked, "Then why is he still like this?" "His body is resting because it hasn't had enough sleep, as far as we can tell." "Tell me, has he been sleeping much lately?" Kankuro rubbed the side of his cheek. "Gaara has never slept, in fact. Ever." Her face hung down. "Of course he's still sleeping. He must have been almost crazy." After a moment of silence, they agreed with her. "Well, he'll be all right now. And he should get back to being himself." They asked, "What do you mean?" "Not getting enough sleep makes a person act quickly, unhealthy, and dangerous. Now that he's had a break, he should be a very different person." "Oh no, there's a new Gaara to worry about." When Kankuro saw Gaara turn over in his sleep, his jaw dropped. He was smiling and holding a sand teddy bear in his arms. "Oh my god, the world is ending. In general, he's a bad person?" Temari said, "He goes around all day threatening to kill people and sometimes does it." "Why doesn't he have any chakra?" "He has never before run out of chakra?" The doctor shuffled her papers and gave a shrug. Naruto Uzumaki called for the head of the Hair Tribe. They are known for using what they know about plants to make strong drinks. When enough Gutshaker is drunk, it seems to take away most of the drinker's chakra. They looked each other in the eye. They both said, "We need to get more of this," at the same time. Naruto told Hinata and Haku, "We're fine," as he stretched his legs. "It's been a week, so I think we can handle it now." "Oh, no, you don't," said Hinata. "You're not going to leave our site. By the way, we want to eat. At a nice place to eat." Naruto sighed, and then he got stiff. Gaara stood in front of him. He said, "Uzumaki," with a smile. "I hope you got enough sleep." He pointed to the window and said, "I was just taking in the view." "Oh, I'm sorry about what happened with killing you. Naruto gave a confused blink. Who are you, and what have you done to Gaara? I am right here, Gaara replied. I'm just feeling better. He stopped smiling for a moment. My siblings and I were forgiven because we did what we were told and didn't fight. Our father was killed. We're sorry, said Naruto. Gaara turned it down. He was a fool anyhow. People like him and Orochimaru make the world a worse place. I heard you put him to death. I'm very happy. Naruto took a while to answer. Yes, we did. Does that seem strange to you? Only that he's a missing S-rank ninja. A crash happened in a guard room. There she goes yet again. Who? One of the only two people who lived through the sound. The boy's name is Kitamaru, and the girl's name is Tayuya. Naruto looked over at Haku. Does Kin know of them? She said that they were Orochimaru's personal bodyguards, Haku told them. A girl with bright red hair ran out of the door when it was opened. I'm getting the hell out of here. She slipped when she realized she was about to run into the person who put her there and killed Lord Orochimaru. Thanks. She sped past him to get to the door. A moment later, she screamed as an Anbu carried her back on his shoulder while she beat on his back. Nani, Naruto said. Kin, who was there to see a friend, said, most people worked for Orochimaru because they were afraid. The Sound Four were just like everyone else. She said hello to Haku before following Tayuya into the room. Naruto realized, we haven't seen Sakura or Sasuke yet. Sasuke is fine, Hinata said with a bit of hesitation. Naruto started to worry. Well, Sakura? During the attack, she was forced to kill a man. She was not happy about it. But there was a friend who could help. Sakura pushed the body off of her and looked at the bloody kunai she was holding. She went pale and threw up. After an hour, she felt hands wrap around her and hear someone say it would be okay. She finally took her eyes off the dead person. Lee now held her. He wasn't loud or excited. Instead, he was calm and calming. She held him in her arms and started to cry. Sakura-chan, I'm sorry, but I can't make it stop hurting. And I can't promise that you won't remember it. But I'm sorry to say that it won't always feel this way. After this one, they'll hurt less. Sakura nodded to show she understood. Naruto agreed and said, the first kill is always the worst. I hope she can handle it. She is doing better than you would think, said Haku. It made her think, he said. About what? Asked Naruto. About how we don't have long, said Hinata. We might die at any time. We knew that already, but to see it. When she stopped crying, she kissed Lee and told him they were going on a date, so he had better look good. Well, good for Lee, Naruto said, happy for his friend. Gaara, will you, your brother, and your sister join us? No. Just now, we ate, and then we were told to come back for a final check. Speaking of that, I should go there. Naruto, have a good day. Naruto couldn't help but wonder what was wrong with him as he walked away. As they dragged him out, Haku told him, he's been like this since he woke up. Why would letting him sleep make a difference? It had been years since he last went to sleep. That should be enough. Naruto took them to Ikaruka Ramen, where they ate some bowls. Just as they were about to finish, a man came in and took a seat. He said, hello, to them. Ladies, could you please go outside for a minute? Whose are you? I can be called Seto. I must talk to Naruto right now. They were about to say something, but then they remembered that Naruto didn't really need any help. Then Seto looked at Tucci, who nodded his head. How are you? Can you go count how much of each kind of meat we have? She cocked her head, looking puzzled. Father? Please, he asked, his voice getting louder. She nodded, looking confused, and left. Naruto's eyebrows went up at this. Okay, old man Tucci, what's going on here? Naruto, I know him. And it's important if he wants to talk to you alone. Naruto turned to look at the new person. Well? Uzumaki Naruto, your sensei and even the Hokage have praised you for how brave you are in battle. You have killed Orochimaru, the missing ninja. And the Hokage, Hyuga Hiyashi, and the council have told me that you should take the rank of Hunter Nin Anbu. Naruto got up from his seat. Nani? Don't raise your voice. I am only known as Shadow. I am the leader of the Anbu, which is the Hokage's loyal group. Both the Hokage and Councilman Danzo told you to do this, as I already said. If he wants to be a hunter, he just put together one hell of a resume, were his exact words. But we, Seto said, Naruto, to get his attention back. The Mizukage also said nice things about you. Most of the time, praise wouldn't be enough. But everyone in the village saw you call those 3 creatures to you. As well as the fights you had before. I know what happened to you and Orochimaru as well. I think you can deal with this. But this still. Naruto stopped talking. I am also going to give you this. He put a letter and a Chunin jacket on the counter. What's in that letter is an S-rank secret, and it has to do with who your parents are. You and your first opponent, Gaara, were both chosen as Chunin by everyone. So, the Hokage thought you were strong enough to defend yourself against any enemy they might have. By the way, you already have a name for yourself. It seems that people are talking about how strong Konoha's Black Spider is. Naruto took it and put it in his mouth. Thanks, Mr. Seto. But won't the fact that we're hunters keep Haku-chan and Hinata-chan away from us? Not as much as you might believe. Think about it and tell Tucci what you think. I'll get it from him. He got up and left the room. When Naruto put on the vest, he frowned because it covered his spider. He looked up from the envelope, which was still closed, when Haku and Hinata came back. Congratulations, Naruto, Tucci told him. He didn't even notice it or when Hinata and Haku hugged him. That night, Naruto bought a book about Konoha Bingo and read it for several hours. If he said yes, he'd be kicked off his team and sent after the people in this book. He didn't even notice when Kin came back, said hello, and went to bed. He didn't look up until Haku told him that someone was waiting for him at the door. When Naruto went to the door, he didn't know who was there. His face was emotionless, and he was about Naruto's age. Naruto asked, "Can we help you?" "Naruto-sama," he said. "My name is Sai. I work for a councilman whose name is Danzo. Would you talk to me if I asked?" "Yes." On top of the building. Naruto shut the door behind him and climbed to the roof, where the ninja was waiting for him. Now, before you start, you should know that everyone, councilman or not, is responsible for what they say. Go on. The Danzo-sama thanks you for what you did a week ago to save the village. He also invites them to join Root, an elite group within Anbu. No. Sai opened his eyes wide. His profile said that he would seize the opportunity. What exactly did you say? We have to turn down the offer with respect, Naruto told him. We have heard about Danzo. We also know about Root. Emotional training and killing. And getting rid of all anti-Konoha feelings, even in allies. Even so, they were few and dealt with quietly. No one ever says no to him, Sai said. We just did, said Naruto. Tell Danzo we won't be joining. You don't know what you are doing, Sai told him. It would surprise you. Go now. Naruto saw him leave, then went back home. After an hour, more people knocked on his door. He walked up to the door with Kage Kiri in his hand. Who's there? Hello, I'm Kakashi. Naruto opened the door, looked at him for a moment, then lifted his blade and put it under his chin. You really don't listen when people say no, do you? Put the henge down. He was surrounded by smoke, and then an Anbu showed up in front of him. This is an attack, he said. Give us a reason why we shouldn't kill you. Someone said from the stairs, because I told him to do it. Danzo, Naruto said, but he didn't put down his sword or look at him. We think Sai finally gave you our answer, they said. He did it. I can see that you deserve that vest and your Anbu rank very much. We haven't accepted it yet, Naruto said. Like we said, now tell us why we shouldn't kill you. Because a dozen men are hanging out around your house. After a moment, Naruto put down his sword and used the cage bunshin to make 36 clones, which all ran away. In a few seconds, all of the root around his house were thrown onto the walkway. Now we really do have the right to kill these men. He went up to Danzo. But as the leader, it's up to you to decide what your men do. I don't lead these guys, I just ask them to do something. Danzo, stop talking nonsense or someone will step in it. What are you doing here? I want you to think again about. No, Naruto said to stop him. We are going to become hunters under the Hokage, not you. No way I can make you change your mind? None. Danzo looked like he thought about it for a while. What if I could tell you who in your family you are? The reason you were not made to be a weapon like Sabaku no Gaara. Naruto started to growl, and he took off his mask. That made the Anbu feel bad. They knew how to tell when someone was about to start a fight. Danzo-sama, he will not agree, the man who had knocked said. We were about to find out anyway, Naruto said. Get out of here and don't come back again. Danzo had something else to say. And if you try to act on that thought in your head, we will take it out of your body. So I'm easy to figure out? It's not that hard, since you want our skills. My friends and people I care about are a clear weakness. And since Haku comes from the same family, it makes sense. She is just as dangerous as we are, of course. Don't come back. He put the cage Kiri on his back, and the clones used their swords to lead each Anbu from there. He was the last person to leave. That wasn't what I was thinking. I thought that maybe your kids would be more receptive to logic. You'll be too old to do anything about it by then. We respect you, Danzo, for what you have done for this village. So, that's why you're leaving right now. Naruto went back inside after turning around. Ohio, Naruto said the next morning when he met up with his team. Kakashi-san, we have some new orders. He gave him a scroll. Kakashi's eyebrows went up at this, but he took it. It's out of character for you to be later than me. I guess we should say, thank you. What, Sakura said. Kakashi told them, Naruto has been promoted and given a new job. This is a lot of work. Do you think you can do it? Yes, Naruto answered quickly. This morning, he had Venom make a copy of the flak jacket so the spider could cover it. Sasuke, Naruto said to him as he turned around. We'll see you again. Kakashi-san, we already have our first job to do. We have to find the Sannin Tsunade. Then good luck. Naruto changed direction and pulled his mask on. Sakura asked, he's not fighting, so why does he do that? Sasuke asked, what kind of promotion did he get? The kind I can't talk about, Kakashi said. Well, it looks like you two are out of here until we get a new team member. Let's get something to eat. At a river, Naruto stopped. He had not yet left the walls. Now you can leave. Behind Naruto, a swordsman with a big sword on his back came out. How can we help? Yeah, said the man. Visit this base while you are on your missions. He showed a map. Orochimaru took Suigetsu, my little brother. He should keep him in place. Of course, Mangetsu-san, he said. Turning to him, Naruto took it. You must be Raiga, because Haku-chan also talked about you. Glad to hear that, said Raiga. Renmaro walked next to him with his hand on Raiga's side. He wasn't used to it yet. I'd like to say thank you. Haku was able to help Raiga because you helped her. I don't know how she did it, but neither of you can ever get enough thanks from me. We are happy that he can now walk. But we have to move quickly because we are traveling with someone. Naruto turned around and went back to Konoha's gates. He saw Jiraiya once he got there. Hi Jiraiya, we're the Venom. We were told to go with you to look for Tsunade. Jiraiya gave a nod. Venom, I'm glad to be working with you. They began to walk. So, aren't you a bit young to be an Anbu? Naruto said, there are people in the world who are stronger than you but younger than us. By the way, nice sword. We figure out how to use it. How long are we going to keep this up? As long as is necessary, Jiraiya-sama. The old man tell you anything yet? That Kushina and Minato are our parents? Yeah. Naruto, people will know who you are. We're not Naruto. We're Venom. And in reality, a smart person could find out who anyone is with a little searching. He looked over at Jiraiya. Why did you ask us to take on this task? You were friends with my apprentice's son. I wanted to learn a little more about you. Plus, I'm his godfather, and we're going to meet his godmother, which helps. Naruto stopped, which made Jiraiya stop as well. How should we take that? Naruto asked, letting go of the secret identity crap. Naruto. Etc. You forgot about us. You could have been with us for 12 years, and now you want to find out about us. Please listen to me, Naruto. What for? I was told that you and I were both dead. And you never double-checked? We had no reason to think that the council would lie. Naruto kept staring at him, and Jiraiya wished he could see Naruto's face. Please understand, there were so many people who died that there were no more bodies to bury. And only a few people knew who your father was. Everyone only knew that Kushina, a ninja from Whirlpool who was visiting, was your mother and that she had also died. Naruto asked in a calm voice. Where is she buried? At her house, with her family. You and Haku are the only Uzumaki left. Under his mask, Naruto gave a sly smile. We should keep going. We have to find her and do something else along the way. Sasuke said, so he did it, when he heard the Anbu talking to each other while they ate behind him. Why is he so strong? He should have been the rookie of the year. Kakashi told him, I've been thinking about that, and I've come to the conclusion that he gave it to you. When Sasuke looked surprised, Kakashi told him. Haven't you noticed that Naruto hates to be noticed? Who stood out in his class, you or him? He's right, Sakura nodded. When Naruto started doing so well because of his grades, everyone was shocked. Right on. So, Sasuke, what do you know about him now? Think before you act. To give up on my plan to get even. A man behind him with a cone-shaped hat turned his head just a little bit. But I thought you had said that was all you cared about. It's not. Now, my friends are. What would be the end of it? Even with that damned Sharingan, my brother couldn't have killed all of them by himself in one night without anyone noticing. He had support. What would happen if that person had help? Etc. No, it's better to drop it. What he was saying shocked Sakura. Your own brother was the one who killed. Yes. I know exactly what I would do if he were here right now, as long as he didn't try to hurt me. I would tell him, I'm sorry. He is no longer my brother, so he is no longer welcome in our home. And that I won't live my life the way he wants me to anymore. Then I'll take a picture of his face because I know it will be priceless. That is very grown up, Sasuke. You'd be surprised at how many people don't let go and die because of it, Kakashi told him. So, I guess all you have to worry about now is restoring your clan. And kin, said Sasuke. The person behind him got up and left with his friend. Is that sound ninja making trouble? Asked Kakashi. She must have bugged someone about me, because now she knows everything about me. And not like my fangirls thought they knew me. I mean the truth. Sasuke waited until Kakashi had drank his tea and was about to swallow it before he did anything. She's been flirting with me, he said. When Kakashi started to choke on it, he laughed. The good news is that it's not so bad this time. No one else in this village is as good at it as she is. She hasn't taken over it. This Friday, I'm going on a date with her. Oh my god, I never thought I'd see you acting like a teenager, Kakashi said as he wiped his mask clean of tea. So, it looks like you're making good progress toward that goal of yours. Looks like, Sasuke said in response. Well, Sakura? You upset by this? She thought for a moment about how to answer, then poked him in the chest. You should know, Mr. Uchiha, that the world doesn't revolve around you and that every girl you meet won't fall at your feet. You couldn't get him away from me because I'm taken. Keep an eye on. She went to the door and whistled in a way that sounded like a dog being called. Lee got there shortly after. Lee, I have the day off, let's go do something fun. Yes, Sakura-chan, of course. Let me change in 5 minutes. When he left, Sakura came back in. When he comes back in 3 minutes, he'll look good and take me. Ah, it doesn't matter where, as long as he takes me there. Kakashi gave a long sigh. What happened to that young team that was so easy to impress? We grew up, said Sasuke. Ha ha ha. Kisame yelled, boy, am I glad I got a picture of that. As they walked down the street. I mean, the great Itachi, with his mouth open and eyes wide with surprise. It was worth a lot. Be quiet. I'm thinking I'll even send him a copy. I said to shut up. What's wrong? Asked Kisame. Big brother is mad because little brother moved on with his life. All done. He gave him a punch. Kisame dodged and took him down with a tackle. It looked like two boys were having a fight. A group of men walked by while they were there. Zabuza rubbed her hair and told Haku, it's time to go back. I will see you again soon. Zabuza-sama, Raiga-sama, and Manjetsu-sama, we'll miss you. Renmara-chan, be careful. Don't call me Chan, he said with a sour face. Hey, Raiga, take a look at those two, Manjetsu said, pointing at the two adults who were fighting. Like little kids. Raiga asked, isn't that the Samahada? Kisame, is that you? They stopped arguing and looked up at them, their fists still pulled back to throw their next punch. Blue skin, shark's teeth and gills. Damn, it's that jerk. He walked over to them, picked them up, and put them back on their feet. Guppy, where have you been? You jerk, Kisame told him as he hit him on the head. How often have I told you not to call me that? More times than we care to count, Manjetsu said. Another of the 7 swordsmen has been found. You gonna come back? Kisame looked sad. Sure, now it's your turn. What a jerk. I work for someone else already. And this knot is not easy to break. Itachi thought about this and said, maybe the leader will let it happen. Having someone in the group who could be the Mizukage's right hand was sure to help. But first, we need to finish our job. He took a look. I'm not sure he's here. Shall we? He started walking to the gate. If he was gone, he would know where he was. There might be more than one gate to Konoha, but there is only one main road in and out. And there was a town on it just a few hours from Konoha. Even though it was a busy day, Naruto looked around with no trouble. Adults all wanted to stay away from someone who carried a blade as big as the Kiri. While the kids whispered as they realized this was the ninja they had heard about recently. Naruto thought, she's not here. There's no point in looking now. Jiraiya, let's go to the inn. Make sure that any girl you go out with is over the age of 21. We've seen a few dubious ones here. Oh, Venom, you just don't get it. Being young is great, but being old is much, much better. He saw a woman in her late 20s and gave her a friendly smile. Seen you tonight. Naruto shook his head, walked in, and looked around. He sat on the ceiling and took it easy. Excuse me, Itachi said to the innkeeper as he walked up to him. Have you ever seen this boy? He held up a picture of Naruto's profile. Not the boy. But someone wearing the same clothes as them already checked in. Want to find him? Yes, his father is a friend of ours. He is in room number 21. Itachi gave a thank you nod and went to the door. He knocked on the door and waited until he heard someone on the other side say, "Come in." When they both went in, there was no one there. Up here, said Naruto. Ninja Uchiha Itachi is missing. He is wanted dead for killing his whole clan. Itachi wondered how he knew it was him until he saw that he was just reading a book out loud. Rokusho Aoi is a Jonin who stole a relic from Konoha and tortured a leaf Jonin. He is currently in a megacure. Gentlemen, how can we help you? We want you to come along with us, Naruto-kun. He turned the page and still didn't look at them. No, you're wrong. We go by the name Venom. In Konoha, Naruto is known as a Chunin, or a loudmouth. We're Anbu. Itachi's eyebrows went up. Venom looked down at the sword Kisame was holding. Nice, was that for show? Nope, said Kisame. Good. We have a Zanbatu called the Cage Kiri that we use. Kiri is missing being a ninja now. We'll help Zabuza by keeping an eye out for them. Hoshigaki Kisame is a missing ninja who was betraying the former Mizuki and is wanted alive. Samahada is a Zanbatu user who is very dangerous. A sword that can absorb chakra. It doesn't cut, it tears and shaves. Naruto looked up from the book and then back down at the sword on his back. It's interesting that the handle of your sword and the Samahada are the same. Now, if we were the kind of people who thought it was all a coincidence, it would be. We don't, though. Naruto got up, put his bingo book in his back pocket, and made a new Cage Kiri. Yes, you were right, we are Naruto. What are you two doing here? We want the Fourth's legacy, Itachi told him as they looked each other in the eyes. Sharingan. Behind his mask, Naruto smiled. When your brother was in his final form, we had one of the best fights we've ever had. Nobody has ever made it that far. He went over to the window and dropped down. If we have to let that part of ourselves out outside of town, we don't want the body count to go up past you. Kisame, we will try to get you back alive if we can. Zabuza is one of our friends. Naruto opened the window and ran away from the city. When the two went after him, they found him waiting. Itachi told him, we don't have time to waste on a fight. He pointed at Naruto and tried to trap him in a genjutsu by doing this. Naruto asked, was that meant to do something? For most genjutsu to work, you have to look at the person. We can fight even if we close our eyes. Which is useful because Itachi felt someone put a blade to his neck from behind after he left. You need that to be able to use that Sharingan to see what we're going to do next. Kisame yelled, I don't, which knocked Samahada down from where he was standing. Naruto moved Cage Kiri in front of it to stop it. Kisame was surprised that his arm didn't move at all when he held his sword out in front of him. When we said we were hunter ninjas, we weren't lying. He went backwards and made the Enmu no Jutsu. Kisame, we know you've heard this before. But we will say it again for Itachi's sake. There are 8 spots on the body that will kill you if you get hit there. Heart, kidney, lungs, liver, spine, vein in the collarbone, vein in the neck, and brain. We could hit you in any one of those places. Itachi took a nervous look around. Many people thought he was brave, but there was one thing that scared him. Losing sight. He could no longer see anything. "Brat," said Kisame, "I know what this is. Pure energy. Remember that my sword eats chakra?" When the darkness went away, a group of mirrors appeared around them. Oh crap. They both saw a white spider surrounded by darkness attack them for a split second. When Kisame opened his eyes, he saw that he was caught in a web. He yelled when he looked down. He was 1,000 feet above a canyon. "Kisame, calm down," Itachi said to him. "This thing doesn't need to shake any more than it already does. Slow down. We're all gonna die. Why the heck should I relax?" Because this boulder is literally holding on by a thread, he heard Naruto say from above them. When Kisame looked up, she saw Naruto hanging from another web. The rock he talked about was right next to him. "You see, when you said you wanted the Yondaime's legacy, we don't think you meant us. So, it looks like you want Kyuubi. Why?" "Screw you." Incorrect answer. Someone cut one of the webs. We are 100 feet from the edge in both directions. 100 feet below the edge. And if this rock falls, it will break my webs. You won't make it. Kisame looked down, hoping that there was water at the bottom. Suna is as dry as this. You have 3 chances to do something wrong before we drop this. One has been used. Why again? We're not going to talk, Naruto-kun. 2 strikes. He took another spider web off of it. Remember this before you give another answer. There is a uniform on you. So, all we need to do to find someone who doesn't want to die is find someone else wearing it. What's your last answer? They didn't say anything. You can think about this for a minute. Move, we're going to drop the rock. He's too high for me to reach, Kisame told Itachi. What's worse, he has control over ice, which means he is related to Haku. Even if we were able to get to him, he could use his mirrors to go faster than we could ever imagine. 50 seconds, Naruto told the group. Not that it would do much good, since he already has your sword. Kisame patted his back when he saw that it was gone. And since we're flying, your water jutsu won't work. The answer is 43 seconds. What are you cooking? It wouldn't help, because it would burn up the webs and kill us anyway. The Tsukuyomi. I can't use it because he's wearing a mask. You mean we're going to die here? We showed you how to get out. 30 seconds. A way out that isn't a way out, Kisame shouted. We've got to do something, Itachi. Naruto, could you tell Sasuke something for me? Tell him that our father planned to betray Konoha. Oh, okay. But that makes no difference. You are still a missing nin, and it is our job to find you. I get it. I just wanted him to know that he was right and that there were more people who could help. Itachi, that sounded like the confessions of a man who was giving up on life, Kisame said. Tell me that was just a plan to get us out of trouble. You're one of the 7 swordsmen, Kisame. You should know when to keep trying and when to give up. We can't do anything about it. 10, 9, 8, 7 and 6. Naruto was amazed as he looked them in the eyes. They didn't beg and didn't act scared. Kisame just had trouble accepting that he was going to die for a moment. 5, 4, and 3. Naruto brought up the cage kiri to cut through the web. 1, 2. He began to swing. Naruto, you should be around here, Jiraiya said from the edge of the cliff. Down here, Jiraiya, Naruto said as he stopped his sword just above the web and called out. Having to deal with 2 bad guys. Jiraiya looked down and saw their cloaks. Akatsuki, he said, not believing it. Naruto asked, do you know them? I knew about them. And the talk that the Biju was wanted by someone. I think they're both the same. Well, it looks like you two don't have much time left. Jiraiya-sama, tell me more about it. We were about to kill these two because they didn't want to talk much. But it won't hurt to wait.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.